Hello. Hello.
I promise you, Chad, I am getting to it. I just needed to get things. I need to do all the important streamer things, such as are always 20 out of 10. Oh, thank you. I love that you think that, Head, but unfortunately, COD Zombies does not reckon that these weapons are of mass destruction or anything like that. So I have to, not do with the
Hello.
thingy-majiggy. Hi there, Jason. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. So, Jason, just as a note, in relation to last night's message and what have you, I'll say it here and such. I don't want it like as a pinned message or anything like that, but if there's any sort of like, someone trying to fish for like, about the 2024 election or the like reaction to it or anything like that, just delete the message. You don't need to ask me about that one, but don't time out or ban people, all right? Just so because yeah, because I don't want like yeah, cool, awesome, cool. So yeah, so because I I put my thoughts together and all that kind of nonsense for the whole thing. You're welcome to go into my Discord and like read it. Any of you that are watching right now, if you are like, you know, a little bit lost onto like, you know, where I stand with the United States and such like that. So, and it's one of those cases of shorthand of it is I don't like it, but I have to accept it. I have to move on, and I have to deal with, you know, I have to deal with the other things in my life. Also, am I not facing straight? Hang on a second. Am I gonna have to, like, hang on. Let me just move. Nope. Okay, I am facing straight. Okay, cool. I feel sorry for him. Yeah. That is, but it, so yeah, so that will be the last time I want to hear about it. I just want to get my thoughts thingy-majiggy across really quickly and all that kind of such, which is like that, yes, it happened, didn't like it, wish it went another way. I don't have the means of changing that kind of nonsense, and it is a waste of energy, it's a waste of brain on me to, like, you know, try otherwise, and really, I should be, you know, looking to try and do improvements on myself. I should be looking to the immediate future, not to, you know, a future that isn't here yet, that isn't for a while. So things such as my weight loss, my trip to my family for Christmas in the United States. I'm gonna be seeing them in Christmas. I'm gonna be up there, so I have to have like winter clothes and such, and I can't have you stealing my shirt while I'm up there. It'll be cold. I'm gonna have a cold Christmas. Meanwhile, everyone in Meanwhile, everyone here in Australia, Jason can attest to this. Even with their Melbourne night weather, I bet you Christmas is a hot time of the year for them. It's not a cold time of the year. You look after my shirt. I can trust you. Okay, apparently I can trust Bookie. But you know what fact is? I probably could trust Bookie, because you know why? Bookie's amazing. Can we get a shout out for Bookie, please? So yeah, because I have had the opportunity of playing a little bit. I've had the opportunity of playing a little bit more of Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I've been doing that during my off time because, you know, I'm a himbo. I like my first-person shooters just like any other, like, you know, musclehead dude and what have you. I won't get into FIFA, though. I'm not that kind of a musclehead. So yeah, so Black Ops 6, I went through zombies with them, and, like, I'm still terrible at it. I can't do, like, the macro nonsense for zombies, which is things such as, I'm just filling up this, jug full of water again. So I can't do the what do you call it? The training or something? Like, I can't have it where the zombies, like, are properly, herded around and such like that, so then that way it's like, you know, mitigating any like random stragglers getting into my like range and hitting me. Training. Okay, cool, training. So yeah, I can't do the training very well, so I can't like make the big groups and things, which would be very beneficial when it comes to excuse me, beneficial to like if I have explosive damage or if I'm running a shotgun, and I really should learn how to do training. It took me a while to, like, properly learn how to dive, because every time I was trying to dive, instead of doing, like, shift and then go prone, which has you do the dive, I thought I had to go shift, jump, then go prone. I thought that was the sequence of, like, events, not, you know, the other way around and what have you. But I finally learned my lesson, last night, actually. Yeah, I think it was basically last night I finally learned my lesson and what have you. And Bookie and I were able to get to the ending of Liberty Falls, which was actually pretty good. So, got a few levels with that, which was nice. I do want to play with Kahlua at one point. I want to play multiplayer or zombies with Kahlua. And yeah, anytime I'm on zombies, it's like I'm half likely to like send an invite to Bookie, because Bookie's amazing at this thing, and I'm just like, hey, Bookie, you wanna help me out? You wanna help me, dumb Zeebs? Don't worry, climate change will make sure you're plenty warm for Christmas. Ow, no. Ow, no. I want a cold winter Christmas, please. I like my winter. I still have all this, like, you know, I still have all this fat on my body. Like, listen. Yeah, I still have, like, I'm down to 131 kilos, though. That's pretty good. I am basically at my lowest... This is my lowest weight of this year, I'm pretty sure it turns out. Like, I have not been lower than 131 kilos for this year. Last year I was like 126, 123 or something. I was like at 125 or something like that last year, but then I went up to like 130s, and then this year I went from like 130 to like 140 like 9 or something crazy like that. So now I've been trying to make my way down. I would love to get under 130 kilos before Christmas, before I go up to the States and such. I will be talking to... It's only been 12 minutes and your shirt is already off. It was stolen from me! They stole it, Kahlua! They don't let me keep anything! They don't let me keep my shirt! They don't let me keep my dignity! They don't let me keep anything! But hey, look at these things. Look at this. You can't do this with your model, can you, Kahlua? Look at me as I do the fun thingy. Wait, why is it not doing the fun? There we go. You can't do the fun thingy-madiggies. Look at that. Hello? Every time you make that excuse, no one believes me either. You don't like. You know what you need, Kahlua? You need drip. Like I know you have a VTuber model, and you get some very fucking drippy sort of attire in your commissioned artworks and such, but your 3D model needs drip. A hat. No, wait. Well, maybe yours doesn't have a hat. Oh, okay. You're saying I need a hat. I got a hat. Hang on a second. I just don't wear it all the time because, you know, I'm in fucking doors. Look at this shit. Look at that. That's a hat. That's the Master Chief hat. Look at that. That's the birthday hat. I got a Santa hat. I've got a sci-fi pilot hat. I got a conductor hat. I got a cowboy hat. Yeehaw. I even got some cool fucking shades. Our future's so bright, we both need shades. So yeah. Do you have a Kahlua hat? No, because every time I try stealing your hat, I just hear the cloaker noise where it's just like... And then just like fucking crash into the ground as Kahlua steals the hat back and it's just like puts it on. It's just like, my hat. You need the Supreme shirt. Oh my gosh. You know what you need? You need one of these shirts. You need a himbo shirt, or maybe you need a Pornhub like parody shirt. Like, look at this. GrantZeebs. What you can do is you can do like Gucci feline. Oh, actually, what you should probably do is you should probably go to someone like I don't know if Kusaki is... I think Kusaki might be busy. You need to find someone that will get like the Gucci logo and all that kind of shit. Because you know how like, you know, the ladies buy that like thousands of dollars of like Gucci brands and such, and like, hang on a second, or like Louis Vuitton. Like, what's that pattern? Gucci pattern. Hang on a second. Like, oh my god. Like, look at some of this fucking nonsense. Actually, hang on a sec. What I can do is I can open up Opera GX. That would be a much better browser to use as I go, look at this shit. Because you know what you could do? The ladies need to buy me. What you need to do is you need to go and get yourself... Like, I don't know if this is a real Gucci shirt. I don't know if this is a real Gucci thing. But apparently, like, look at this bullshit. Look at this thing. Actually, hang on a second. Let me just like full screen and then background, ding dong. Look at this ugly monstrosity. That's a real thing. Oh my god. So yeah, instead of doing GG, which is for Gucci, what you need to do is you need to get like something like Gucci feline or Gucci Kahlua. So hang on. So if I type in Gucci feline, oh, would you look at that? It's your... Okay, I'm gonna be real with you. I laughed at this. I thought this one was funny. Like, granted, this is definitely a riff on Madagascar, of just like, what you gonna get, dude? And you're like, and you're just like, why are you looking at me like that? Like, that is like some Madagascar shit right there. Just like... Also, what are you doing at, like, the fancy restaurant in a fucking hoodie? Look at this guy. He's got like a shirt with a vest. He's He's all good. Uncle Creeves is amazing, and there you are in your hoodie, just like, "Ugh. It's cold in there, okay? Ooh, oh, it's too cold." But yeah, so you need to do like something attire wise that is just really fucking. Did I remember? Hang on a second. Now comes the fun bit of did I keep safe search on? Tools. Advanced. It doesn't tell me if I have safe search on or off. I think it's on. I'm pretty sure it's on. So yeah, but like, look at this stuff. Also, like, also, what the fuck? Why? When did you end up on fucking on like ArtStation? That's like professional peeps. Is that meant to be you? Tier 1 submission for Gucci Feline. I have never seen that before. Like, this one, yeah, this one definitely feels... Like, look at this drip. You don't wear it... Like, this is some good drip, and you're not, like... Never seen that ArtStation one? Never? Alright, hang on a second. We're looking over here. OC by Gucci Feline, drawn by Dandelion Yum. What the heck? Alright, let's have a look at more Dandelion. Like, this is some amazing shit right here. My goodness. Like, there's you, Gucci Feline fan art. Then they've got like the Han. Then they've got the white, like a concept of white tiger. They got Oscar. They've got the werewolf. Oh, he did the ramen challenge as a thing to like fuck you to the AIs. Good for him. And then, oh my goodness. And then Clay, this guy really likes lions. Parentheses, sorry. Nice. So yeah, so what you need to do is you need to get yourself like Also, this is a pretty cool hoodie. I remember seeing this a few times, like with the cool like Vor shirt and such like that. Oh my goodness. You hung out with Kosaki Desu? I have never seen this video before. December 2020. Oh my. Also, hi there, Benru. Yes, it's Kahlua. We're doing. Oh my gosh, Gucci Feline brooch. They're all terrible. All right, the Gucci Feline brooches are terrible. What are the cufflinks like? Cufflinks, boring. Earrings, boring. Tiger, fur affinity. Oh, there you go. Kahlua. Leather bracelet. So if we do Kahlua Gucci Feline. I love how there's one where you're looking at a fucking like shoe shop or something like that. And then there's this image I love. This is such a hey bro, why you do that? Buying the tiger girl a pair? Oh, okay, so it's not for you. But yeah, oh, and then there's Mutasaur. Mutasaur does some amazing work. Oh, there's one of your streams. I stream, by the way. Yeah, you do. Amazing. Oh, and then there's Gucci Feline right there in like some cool outfit. What is this image? Like there's a tiger and then there's just like, you know, you're like, ah, let me cook, chat. The one where I look like Sam Sulik's persona. Oh, I know the one you're talking about. You're talking about this guy. You're talking Sam Sulik's persona. Oh, goodness, what's with my nose? The one where like, yes, not that I'm biased or anything. Yeah, lol. Yeah, no, lol. As if there isn't a bias in this fucking chat of like, you know, also Arm, come on, fix yourself. As if there isn't a bias in this fucking chat as to like who, like what kind of things people like to see in their personas, like, you know, species wise and some such. Furry bodybuilder for the win. Yeah. Yeah, and Kahlua, you do like exercise and all that kind of shit as well. You're not like a Sulex kind of dude. You're not like a strong man. You're like a you're like a what was you'd be like what's Mahuzi? Jake Krasinski from Jack Reacher. You'd be like a Jack Reacher. Kahlua is a gym bro. Ah, yep. He is. Alrighty. Over into the games. We're not going with a console, we're going with a PC. So yeah. And I also need to pause the music and what have you. But yeah, we're going through more of Dragon Age the Veilguard. Apparently there was an update or something like that I had to go through, so hopefully some of the complaints and what have you that I had with the sound quality and what have you is not going to be a problem here, which will be nice. DLSS, doing upscaling for the balance sake. We're not doing the reflex touch. Target frames per second. Let's try and go for... I want to go for 50, because that's, like, the area that I'm streaming to you and all that kind of stuff. Can you do me a big favor? I want to see you roll by on your chair one more time. What are you talking about? It's a channel point redeem. It's the, where is it? It's the, for 5 channel points. It's the zebra chair roll. Yeah, it is. I am an amazing... Look at that, see? Amazing. That was when I had, like, you know, terrible control in Blender and all that kind of nonsense, and I haven't done much with it. And what's more is, like, it's a terrible, like, it's from me in like a clip or something like that going, eee, tango! So it's like, the guy who did the thingy-majiggy with the wheels and such, they did it as, like, a fun thingy-majiggy for me. I love when people make shit for me. I don't know if you know, but I absolutely love it. You're never gonna hear anything bad from me whenever you make shit for me, okay? I have this, look at this fucking wall of fan art. Like, look at this. Look at some of this shit. It's amazing. I've gotten stuff from Skyline. Sour Cream has given me stuff, even in a maid outfit. Joseph Joestar from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Angrel made me fat. I got, you know, absolutely fucking massive boobies in one. Freckles is stealing my shirt. If someone draws Kahlua, I scream. Dude, like, it's the same. I'm sort of the same thing where I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like, holy shit. I absolutely love it. I get so, like, because here's the thing, is like, I've gotten a lot of art over the years as being a furry. Granted, granted, historically and currently, some of it is a little bit not safe for work. One of the most recent pieces of work I got was for your character here. This was all, like, I tell myself this was a worthwhile purchase because, Twixie Gobbo is, she's a streamer and all this kind of such, and she had an artist friend set up a your character here where you can clap some, you know, goblin cheeks and some really thick goblin cheeks, like some real... Any whoosies. So turns out it was like a relatively cheap price to, you know, put your character there, or slapping some goblin cheeks, and about $10 would go towards their titty fund. And I was like, hell the fuck yeah. I am always for some really, like, you know, 1, good art, and 2, I'm contributing to someone having bigger boobs. Like, that's just, like, that's just the male fantasy right there. Being able to somehow contribute to a lady having bigger boobs, whether that's by feeding them, donating to them, or whatever the fuck. Granted, I wish I could do, like, you know, magic boob growth and shit like that. Imagine having that power. Imagine having the power like, you know, Elongated Man or Plastic Man, where it's just like, you can just, like, modify the body however you want. I would then be able to eat whatever the fuck I wanted and still make myself into, like, you know, a crazy, himbo zeeb size and what have you, but that's obviously not the case here. So, lol, I love OS reservation 0.7. So, we got Sky, we got this, we got, oh my god, hair strands. They've put me on, like, ultra on so many things, and then it's like, get rid of the motion blur. Alright, we got English, subtitles are always visible. We're not muting all game sounds. Global volume is, like, 50. 1. Speech is going to be high. SFX is low. Ambient and menu is fine as it is. It's in stereo with a narrow dynamic. Good for television speakers, loud environments, and quiet playback levels. Actually, I'm going to make it like headphones. So something like, because I'm wearing headphones and what have you. Disable when a platform 3D is enabled. For an optimal, it is recommended that you use stereo headphones and disable any virtual surround. Okay. Oh, okay. I see what they're talking about. So, yeah, I'm gonna have that on. So I think because that's what I want, and then controls allow switching between various class key bindings. Interesting. And then, all right. So if I go controller. Because I feel like going with a controller might be the best. Actually, no. I'll leave the controller on the side just as just in case kind of thingy-majiggy. Because I've been using keyboard and mouse. I'm just gonna need a I'm just gonna need a refresher course when we get back into this. Hide the helmet during conversations. Does the cinema nonsense. Heads-up display. Advanced combat text. Display the current health percentage. Contextual. Tapping. Tutorials and hints are on. Reduce the camera shaking. We're not doing a colorblind thing. And accessibility. Incoming attack indicator. Target lock and... Ooh, interesting. Alright, I'll let you... I'll have you be like 20%. I hope they're not just gonna be... Ooh, glint ping. At objects when you press... Oh my god, that's actually awesome. Alright. I don't remember that setting being there before. Others. If disabled, nudity will be displayed in the game. Will be disabled. Characters will wear undergarments during nude scenes. What? Like, is this like proper nude scenes, or is this more of a... I'm gonna set it to off just in case, because the last thing I want is like, you know, Kunari bulge just like dropping off in front of me. So. Alright, but yeah, so. This is my character. I am a generic fucking... Ooh, bonus items. Your account has been granted bonus items. Yes, please. I am a generic human. I know I always go on about, like, the dwarves having magic and all this kind of... Like, you know, being the coolest fantasy race and such. But Dragon Age fucking nerfs them mechanically by not allowing them to, you know, wield magic and shit. It is disrespectful. I really wish they would let them use magic, but they don't. It is terrible. Alright, wardrobe. Let's have a look. So, hide conversations. So it's at the default. Alright, we can change our casual appearance, apparently. So we can go... I kind of like this tunic. Alright, actually, I'm gonna just have it as default for now. Save. And then... So this is my staff, where I'm having as Fire Breach, but I could have it as either Frost or... Staff of the Falling Kingdom. Nah, I'm gonna keep it as the Flame Birch. And then this guy over here, I'm gonna change it to the default. And then... Casual wear. Yeah. And then empty swap. Apparently I have like new things I can put in there. Oh, it's an empty slot. There's Elara, Harding, and Nev. Check art in the Zebra channel. Wait, what? What did you do? Kaloa! Are you in the Discord? Hopefully you're in the Discord. Oh, we got a mirror of transformation, so if we wanted to, we could, like, change our appearances and shit. Just like all these presets. Killmonger hairstyle. Yes. Exit without savings. Yeah, because we're not, like, maybe I'll change this appearance to, like, something different, like with his facial hair, or maybe a slight change to the body, but, like, not yet. So yeah, so from where last we left off, we got...
Never Harding must have put my pack here. Makes sense. Better place to sleep than the infirmary. Guess I can spare a few moments to unpack my things.
Life in the Lighthouse. This ancient logbook is filled with meticulous Veilfire runes, though it is encoded. Flickering through it offers vignettes of borrowed memory. Fearful refugees are ushered to the lighthouse through illuvians, emerging from... Hi there, Crash Pone! This is Dragon Age Veilguard. Right now I'm just reading, on Life in the Lighthouse. Fearful refugees are ushered to the lighthouse through illuvians, emerging from the infirmary and libraries as soldiers, spies, and scholars. Gardeners plant long-extinct herbs that grow, are harvested, and wither in the blink of an eye. The sharp smell of distilling medicine wafts from the window, and poison for the enemy drips into a vial. The arguments of a war council go on late into the night. Forbidden songs are sung freely with filthy lyrics substituted for the Evanurus' name. Finally, a heated conversation silhouetted against glass with quick shadows darting behind it. The argument ends with a wordless but unmistakable impression. You summoned them. You feed them. Interesting. Okay. Alright. Unpack. So we can place a chest set?
A peddler gave me this after I saved his caravan from bandits.
Also, hand, stop doing the thing.
Nobles think of ruling like a game of chess, that each move determines...
That is not a chessboard.
...on the world. He had fancy silks from Orlais, statuettes from the wilds down south. I could have listened to stories all night about places he'd been. Now I'm getting to see some of those places myself.
Broken chains. Varric's shaving mirror.
Varric and his life lessons. I asked him how...
That man is painfully handsome, like he has a very punchable face. What, my character?
Look in it, kid. It'll always show the face of a hero who can get it done. Funny, Varric didn't mention that hero having so many scars. It's handy. You ever get too full of yourself, you can just look in the mirror and see every mistake that left a mark. But it's not just about you anymore. Harding's got a new scar because you sent her into that ritual. So do better. Nobody else should have to wear your mistakes, hero.
Yeah. Nice. Alright. So just a lot of, like, you know, picking, like, just quickly picking up little tidbits.
Then the Magisters cracked down in retaliation, and the Shadow Dragons.
Rook, if he's yours, he's like football. Look, I made him in like some weird way, because here's the thing: is like when it comes to RPGs and what have you, like much like my persona, it's always this idealized look of myself or something. Unless I am like explicitly going for some sort of character. More often than not, you will find me trying to make it either something equivalent to the Zeebs, to myself, or like some mix between the two. Because like, I do not have this kind of haircut. I'm going to be real with actually, no, I'm kind of starting to get this haircut. I have like not the properly shaved sides. I don't grow this kind of facial hair, and I'm definitely not this built. But, you know, it's what I like.
We could have taken a stand and dared the Magisters to come after us. At least people are free because of what I did.
So, Yeah. Besides, like, knowing my luck, we'll be able, like, I'll probably go into the mirror and change his hairstyle or something like that, and, like, small things, because he is, like, a magical user, so I might make him, like, more lanky.
The ever-turning orb. My final training project as an apprentice. I spent months finding the precise balance of energy flows to make the enchantment permanent. Might have gone faster if I hadn't been exhausted from too many late-night escapades. Oh well, still got it done.
So, yeah. Kind of cool that they give us, like, this moment for, like, our rook and what have you, but...
Now how do I connect to Solus? Just sleep or...
Yeah.
Relaxing. Maybe if I clear my mind.
Oh, hello. Alright, meditate. Alright, so yeah, so if you're not aware, we tried to stop Solus from, like, ripping down the veil, which we kind of did, but we unfortunately released, like, 2 of, like, the evilest of the Elvenura, so, like, elven leaders who are seen as gods, like, way back before the split, and Solus is now stuck in the Fade.
It must have been worse than I had thought.
Hello, Dreadwolf.
Ah, but perhaps I am mistaken. You may be here to correct me, to tell me that my concerns were unfounded. I am, after all, remembered as the god of lies, treachery, and rebellion.
Solus remembered your verbal jab at him. We're gonna all this option, I feel like, quite honestly, so great. It's great to have, like, the fucking, you know, jester looking thing.
So you're gonna be insufferable about it. See, this is the reason nobody likes you.
I led a rebellion for centuries that culminated in the creation of the Veil and the destruction of the Elven Empire.
Okay, this is among the reasons nobody likes you.
My information was accurate. Now you realize that the danger is real.
I need to know what the gods are planning.
You are asking for knowledge no mortal in this world is privy to. If I am to share it with you, I need to know what makes you the right person to lead the fight against Algernon and Gillenane.
I don't want to go with the I'm not in charge. I don't know what that is. I feel like the punch up you should know is me trying to, like, you know, put one over Solus of, like, oh hey, like, I stopped you, didn't I? But the thing is, Solus will most likely, like, you know, punch back really easily of, like, I fucked up, they're released for the get-go. So I feel like I'm gonna have to be a little bit sincere for this one, where it's like, no, but I'm here, aren't I? Like, if you're a god of, like, treachery, lies, and rebellion, then I'm going to be here for the rebellion.
Someone has to do something. I may not be the right person for this job, but I'm the only one left.
So your call to action is that any attempt is better than none?
I met Varric when he asked the Shadow Dragons for help with freeing an old friend from Venatori slavers. The Shadow Dragons had a safe plan that wasn't gonna work.
So you and Varric led an armed rebellion and dealt a devastating blow to the Venatori.
How'd you know that?
You helped Varric pursue me for the better part of a year. It would have been foolish not to learn about who was hunting me.
Then you know that if someone has to make a call, I'll do it.
I suppose I was not so different when I started.
Started what?
My rebellion against the Evanuris. The Elven Gods, as you call them. They wish to reclaim their dominion over this world. To accomplish that, they will need 2 things. First, the Blight. What exists in this world is a bare fragment of its power. The rest is imprisoned, until they release it.
The Blight didn't escape with the gods?
Algernon and Gillenane escaped largely empty-handed, fortunately. Most of the Blight is still trapped in the prison I created ages ago.
Interesting.
So what we saw at that village, that's them not at full strength?
Correct.
The rest of the Blight is imprisoned? There's more than what's in the world already?
Yes. Centuries ago, the Magisters of Tevinter opened my prison. A tiny fragment of the Blight escaped. That fragment
Ooh.
and led to the blights that have swept across the world. However terrible the Blight is now, it is a mere fraction of what we will see if its full power is unleashed.
I don't understand. Elgranon and Gillenane were elves like you, right? Why would they want to blight the world?
So...
It is my fault. As the Dread Wolf, I was a thorn in their side. When my efforts weakened their grasp on the Elven people, they grew frustrated, then desperate.
And turned to the blight.
Once the corruption took hold of them, they were blind to its horror. It was just another source of power for them. Now they would blight the world without hesitation, and call us backward and foolish for opposing them.
Okay, so, Dragon Age lore for Thedas and what have you. The Blight is, you know, a problem that they've had to deal with like 4 or 5 times, no, 7 times at this point. They're at the Age of the Dragon at this point. This is how we got the Grey Wardens and such. It is a fucking terrible time. That's interesting that, like, the Blight is like, oh, this is something that the elves have created because of the escalation of, like, Solus and his rebellion. So, interesting that they were willing to, like, you know, turn the entire world into basically, like, you know, the fantasy equivalent of the Flood to stop rebellions. And most likely would have done that to, you know, excuse me, to, like, put everyone in order. So... how do we stop them?
What would they need to do to free the blight, and how do we stop them from doing it?
They will need to pierce the veil to reach the Blight's prison. My Lyrium dagger is one of the few artifacts capable of doing so.
We've already recovered it from the ritual site.
Excellent. Then they will have to make their own. That will give you time.
You said the gods needed 2 things, and the blight is the first. What's the second?
Wait, you gave me a sketch?
They have called themselves gods. And what is a god without worshippers to see?
Yay! Oh my god.
You think they want the elves back?
I am
I don't
going
think
to...
elven people will bend a knee to blighted, murderous monsters.
Agreed. Elganan and Gillenane care little for the elves. They will find worshippers.
I'm gonna... that's going on the wall.
Tyrants and bullies. The cruel and the corrupt, who fear their own vulnerability and seize any chance to feel strong.
That's gonna go on the wall, and we're gonna see it, like, another time. Alright. By Benroot22. Thank you so much! I really appreciate it! Hi there, Shoto. You just baked some cookies? Oh, that sounds good. I am still on my shake diet for, the next few weeks, but I'm gonna be real with you. The way that, like, because of how slow the weight loss has been for, like, the last few, like, weeks for me personally, number one, I really, really want to, like, you know, try and get, you know, contributions towards the walking pad and what have you. I will have, like, a goal, or I'll have, like, a subathon marathon thing once I have the treadmill, you know, and what's more is, just to, like, give you an idea of, like, you know, how far we're willing to do this. Hang on a sec, where's the buttons? Here's the buttons. Bam, boom, bam. It's not here. Okay, hang on a second, ding. Properties. Deactivate, activate. Okay, why is it not working? Are you kidding me? Hang on a second. I went and got myself, like, this impossibly long, USB-C cable, but it doesn't seem to do it. Like, it's meant to be, like, a charging, like, link cable for VR headsets, because, fun fact, they're USB-C, and they require a certain amount of speed. Alright, let's see. Fine. Wait, there we go. I should just make it so it's using the wavelength stream. Rip mic. I'm back now. I'm back. It's because I'm trying to get like a, hang on. Maybe I just need to disconnect. Oh, jeez, thanks. Ding dong. It says, for some reason, it tells me that this camera is, like, connected and shit, but it's not. I just unplugged it. Cookie for Jason! Here's your cookie, Jason! For whatever reason, so, alright. So the camera that I salvaged doesn't work. Or at least it doesn't work for me. That is relatively annoying. Uninstall device. I was really hoping it would work. Apparently not. That is painful AF. I'm gonna be real with you. Uninstall device. Uninstall. So yeah, the intention is that I was gonna have a webcam, and because it was gonna be able to be connected via USB-C, it meant that I could have whatever length cable I needed. All right, let me try this again. So, plug this in. And then I'm going to put you here. And then, hopefully... Alright. Here. Alright. Come on. Come on. Come on. You can do it. You can detect there's a camera. Just, you know, give yourself 5... So yeah, because I only have, like, one USB-C, like, port on the back of my, computer. But I went and got myself, like, a USB hub. Because you should be able to do, like, 2 or 3, like, depths of connectors and what have you. And for whatever reason, this one ain't doing that. Which is annoying, because... God fucking damn it. God fucking damn it. Why does it not detect... This camera is bullshit. What a terrible camera. Alright, so, there is no... So I have no webcam yet. Yet, I should say. I have no webcam, because right now I'm using, like, my phone to do, like, the face tracking and all that kind of nonsense and what have you, so I want to keep... I need to keep using it for that. But I'm gonna get a webcam, so then that way... When I have the walking pad treadmill thingy-majiggy, check out my throne, by the by, I will have a webcam that I'm able to have, like, aimed towards, like, the lower half of my body, so then that way you have a means of, like, seeing my progress as I, like, you know, go on the treadmill and such, and, I don't know, we'll do, like, a fucking, like, Skyrim VR or some shit. It's gonna take me a little bit of time to figure out how to do it.
You want me to pick fights with tyrants and bullies? Sounds fun.
I gave no orders. All I offer are suggestions.
I'm on it. What else?
The Veravas, the lighthouse Soluvian, can take you anywhere, if you master its secrets. Have you done so?
Not yet, but we've got one of the Veil Jumpers working on it. She'll get it sorted and we'll see how it goes.
Yes. I suppose we will. And when you speak with Varric, please tell him that I regret what happened.
Ah! Fucking flashbanged again! Ow. Also, I'm pretty sure I'm not underwater. I am, like, above ground. Why the fuck is there a giant... Oh yeah, there's fish tanks. Fish tanks is a thing, even in this universe. Ooh, decoration mode. Change decor. So the magical project can go there. Not the... Actually, you know what? We're gonna put the, Varric shaving mirror will go there. And then... chess set will go there. And I don't really have anything else anywhere. We'll no doubt get more things. Alright. Because, let's be real, we don't have, like, all the companions with us or anything like that. So, We got more stuff to do. Forgot the fish tanks and aquariums existed. Look, I thought it, like, my first thought was that we somehow did, like, magical nonsense to be underwater instead of, like, the more practical sense of, oh yeah, you just get a tank and you fill it with water, okay? Sometimes I am legitimately a himbo.
It's bad, Varric. If you had seen Demeda's crossing...
The team needs to act fast. And it can't do that with me leading from a bed. You've got to take point on this.
Can't replace you.
I can't do what you do. I've barely been holding it together in the short time you've been out.
You don't need to do what I do. You just need to get it done. Rook, when I put this team together, what did I look for? A detective to find the Dreadwolf, and a scout to get us the lay of the land. Exactly the people he'd expect me to recruit. Disciplined. Predictable. And then there's you. Remember when we first met, kid? You risked your neck to bring down an entire slavery ring. Pretty much by yourself.
I had help.
Sure. I got winded about 5 minutes in. You did most of the work. Ticked off a bunch of Minrathous big shots, but you've got a knack, kid.
For what?
Finding a way through the wildest shit I've ever seen. With a plan that no one expects. On the best day of his life, Solus wouldn't see you coming, Rook. And don't worry. I'll still be here to talk if you need me.
There is something. Demeda's crossing was awful. While we were there, we found one survivor, the mayor.
You took him back to the Veil Jumpers.
Not everyone was happy about my decision. We're just starting out and I'm already losing their trust.
The key to earning the team's trust isn't to only make decisions everyone agrees with. It's showing the team that they can tell you whatever's on their mind, even if they think you're full of crap. And know you'll listen.
When I took over at the ritual site, I had to make a call on who came with me to knock over that statue. It was the first decision I made leading this team, and Harding got hurt because of it.
You made a decision with the best information you had. Sometimes you do that, and people end up hurt. Or worse.
What would you have done?
What would I have done? Probably gotten myself killed and failed to stop the ritual if you hadn't stepped in. A good leader isn't someone who never makes mistakes. It's someone who admits when they make one. That's how you earn their trust.
Gotta talk to about Solus.
Did Nev tell you about me talking to Solus in the Fade?
I had some good arguments with Chuckles back in the day. I can't imagine being stuck with him in my head. But how are you feeling about it?
It doesn't matter how I feel about it. We can't stop the gods without what he knows.
And there you go. You don't have to love him to deal with him.
He also asked me to tell you that he regrets what happened. Hurting you, I mean.
Chuckles is sentimental. He could burn the world down, and the thing that would make him cry is a single flower with blackened petals.
I'll let you
That
get
wasn't
to the
as
rest.
fun as a conversation as I thought I was gonna get with conversing with him about
One last
Solus.
thing before you go. I've been racking my brain thinking of contacts who might help us with these gods.
You got any ideas?
Nothing. But being a leader isn't about having all the answers yourself. It's about knowing who does. Nev has connections to a whole world that Harding and I barely know. Might be worth talking to her.
Will do. Thanks, Varric.
Sounds like a plan.
Anytime.
Alright. Time to get to recruiting. Alright, is there anything in this place I
I
need?
wish I
No.
could be out there with you, Rook.
Alright, so that place still hasn't opened up. So we just need to check in on Nev. Oh, hello. I don't remember you being here. Spectre of Battle Pass, Paragon of Leadership, and a Commander helmet. Upgrades. Upgrade your equipment at the Carrier's Workshop will increase statistics. Finding another version of the existing item or purchasing it from merchant will increase the while also unlocking new properties. Pursue both paths to bring out the fullest potential. Collecting mementos out in the world will let you upgrade the caretaker's workshop. Upgrading it will increase the number of enchantments and offer and increase the power level of all. Cool. Probably not gonna do that with any of my stuff just yet. Because, yeah, I still have stuff I can collect, and knowing this RPG game, it's gonna give me options for, it's gonna give me options for gear that isn't gonna be upgradable, but is, you know, difficult to find and what have you. Ooh. And then, boom. Yep, there we go. Just take that, no problem. Oh, hello. What's this? An altar to Fen'Harel. I'm gonna keep it to Fen'Harel. I'm gonna leave it to that, just for now, because, hell, we might need a god of rebellion.
Hey, Nev. Hi, Wisps.
Yeah, they're still here, but you're here for leads. You want allies to go after the gods? I've got places to look, if we can get anywhere but Arlathan.
Balara's working on it. What have you got?
Let's start with the angles we know.
We need to deal with a blight.
Corrupt magic personified. Who do we hire to fight that? First, the Antivan Crows.
What?
You want to fight gods with assassins?
Not just any assassin, their most feared mage killer, the Demon of Virantium.
Working with a feared mage killer doesn't bother you?
As long as he doesn't have a contract out on us, we're fine.
You think a trained killer will like us?
What's not to love? The demon got his nickname taking out blood mages and Venatori. From everything I've learned, the reputation was earned.
Alright,
I never
sounds
uncovered
good.
his real name, and there's been fewer stories the last few years. But the Crows would know. I can set a meeting with their bosses.
This is great. Thanks, Nev.
It's what I'm here for.
You said the Crows were first. What's next?
Grey Wardens because of the blight?
Home.
Back to Minrathous.
Capital city and heart of Tevinter. An empire of mages that knows a thing or two about corrupt magic.
Ah, okay.
And who fights the worst of it?
The Shadow Dragons. Good idea. Resist the gods with our own resistance group.
If the gods enter the empire, our contacts back home might get something.
Years with the Shadow Dragons, and this is the first time we've worked together.
Directly. I gather information for the Shadows. You might have used one of my leads. And I've heard of you.
I bet everyone heard about the Nessus job.
Every time I see Nessus, I think of Nassau,
More than one
the
magister
port
wanted
in
dead.
the
It was
Caribbean.
good work, though. And we've got more ahead.
We train to be the best at countering evil magic. Time to prove it.
Were you missing a challenge?
So, we talked to the Crows in Antiva and the Shadow Dragons in Minrathous.
I wouldn't mind checking in on my neighborhood either. If Balara's ready for us.
Yeah, should check how things are going.
Just the little hand, just like gesture, just like, yeah. Right. Alrighty. We have several options now. Smuggled relic case. Yeah, you can't like. Well, I'm an idiot.
Almost.
Please don't blow up the Alluvian, Bellara.
Shit. Sorry.
That
Can I help?
No, I've got it. Mostly. Mirrors are funny things, aren't they? Reflections. They distort reality, no matter what you try. And there's the trick. Control that distortion.
Cool.
What is that place?
If I had to guess, it's the Fade. Another part of it, I mean.
Didn't Morrigan say this Illuvian could go anywhere? Didn't think that meant elsewhere in the Fade.
She called it the Vir of Us, freedom of ways. I wonder...
If you have an idea what that place is, Bellara, share it. We don't have time to waste.
Some of the older texts talk about a place in the Fade where all the Illuvians meet.
Like in Trespasser.
Crossroads, where you could travel across all of Thedas in just minutes.
Right. We saw something similar when we were chasing Solus. I wonder if it's the same.
It is alike, and it is not.
Either you found some way to get into the lighthouse without us seeing, or you've been here all along. Not sure which one worries me more.
Is this?
The wolf's fang. You carry it now.
It's
Old paths
what's his name? He was like mentioned in the
through there. I will wait.
Well, can't tell if that's a trap or not. But we're short on options. Wait to find out.
And it didn't feel dangerous, you know? Almost more sad.
We have no idea what or who they are. So let's be careful. We need to be ready for anything.
And we still don't know what this Illuvian's gonna do. One of us should probably stay behind in case it closes.
Good point.
Just tell us when you're ready to go, Rook, and then we can figure out what's going on.
Alrighty. Magic dampener notes. Let's have a read. Dampener creates a counter resonance to the Fade. That's why it's safe to live here. No one's being torn apart yet that I know of. But the counter resonance from the dampener is tuned to this specific part of the Fade. The more you move away from the spot, the less effective it would be. There's a theory that every mage has a unique resonance. The way they touch magic is just a little bit different. Theoretically, you could tune the dampener to a person's resonance instead, make it so they couldn't use magic. Would be hard to figure out someone's specific resonance, would need examples of their magic. Need the third volume of Harris's collected essays. We'll ask the professor if he has it. And then that's Strife's journal. Alright. Alright, let's investigate the crossroads. Alright. Bellara and Harding. Because what we need is... Oh, we got new things we can give? No. Nothing in the trinket slots we can apply. Oh, but we can apply 2 skills. Alright. Let's see. So, all of these have been acquired. Damage against high health. A seismic shock will do a stagger. Alright. Ah, I see. I can only... Alright, so... When activated, you gain 20% ultimate. This can only be used during combat. Heavy draw does stagger. Soothing potion increases the duration. Razor point will do more to the armor, which will be helpful. And then let's do the health thingamajiggy. Alright. Bellara doesn't have anything. Apparently you have something new. My regrets +1. Interesting. Alright. Adrenaline rush sounds good. And then Bellara, we've got... Alright, let's change you from replenish to... Alright, let's put you to the galvanizing tear. So you got fade, so electricity. Should be good. Alright. Ladies. So, because we need the veil, so we need Bellara to help us out with any of the Illuvians that may be popping up when we're at the crossroads. Harding is a scout, which is just, you know, naturally better. Nev, like, sure, can do investigative knowledge nonsense, but I feel like that's less appropriate for unknown regions like this.
Hello again. Who are you?
A caretaker. I go where I am needed, Dweller. Now, I am here.
And where is here?
The crossroads.
Whoa, okay. A lot of different parts of the Fade.
Can you help us? I get the feeling this is no place to get lost.
The Evanurus hunger for the crossroads. Their influence is spreading. Blight, death, madness. They send their minions to claim this place. The crossroads is in a time of need, Dweller. I cannot protect you.
You don't have to. If you're standing against the gods, then consider us reinforcements.
Oh, if it... No, sorry, I got a notification because someone like on Twitter was just like me when I see under 16s on the internet in Australia, and they're just like minors and ready to like fucking punch their shit because Albert Albanese has put together a little thing where they're gonna put the onerous on social media sites to manage and block under 16-year-olds. So basically, if you're a social media site like Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, I imagine if you're a social media site in the eyes of the Australian government, you are going to need to put forth some sort of like age verification nonsense and make it so that people under the age of 16 cannot browse your site. I like that overarching thing. I'm gonna be real with you. That's not the part I'm mad about, because I actually agree with this one. The part that I think is a little bit bullshit is that historically, when we have been asking websites to do like age verification and shit, unless it's like, you know, for example, South Korea, they have it so that that your driver's license is associated with your YouTube account. So like there's a very explicit state of your account is linked to an age and what have you. Whereas here in Australia, there's been very little explained as to how the system is going to work. They don't explain if this is a system, like, you know, as far as we know, you're not going to be grandfathered into it. So if you are under 16, like, if you were on these, like, platforms prior to this law and under 16, you're still going to get kicked out. You don't get to be a thing of, like, oh, but my parents say it's okay, because at this point, they don't trust the parents. But they're not putting the onerous on the parents on this. They're putting it on the website, which means that websites have the decision of either creating an entirely new system of verification on their site so that you either have to be always logged in to use it or have to go through an age verification like it is on porn sites, or whether or not it's going to go even further than that, we don't know because the Australian government hasn't told us much more. They do not explain to us if this is a one-time thing or if, like, so you just need to set it on your account once and never think about it, or if you're going to have to do it each time you go to the site and, like, constantly update it and what have you. All of this before there's the idea of like
roots and magical seals. What's through there?
Interesting. But yeah, all this, and there is the possibility of, and this might sound ridiculous, but let me remind you, about half the United States has their porn sites blocked right now because they don't want to deal with age verification. I can totally imagine some social media sites just going, wiping their hands of Australia and being like, it's not fucking worth. It's like 10 million people there or something like that. It's hardly a, you know, important area for us. We're willing to just simply go peace out and have only corporate accounts, you know, access us or what have you. So there are some bad moves that can be made because of this without, you know, without definition. Oh, hey! That's not fucking morbid at all.
To the other islands.
Winds await, Dweller.
Cool.
I'll take that as a yes.
places.
I love how I was so quick to, like, you know, jumping on this thingamadoogie's, before he was even done talking. I was like, yep, nope, I know how the River Styx works. You're definitely, I don't think your name is Chiron. I think it's something else.
Spirits here were driven out. Refugees now from the gods' minions.
Huh.
I have summoned the guardians of the crossroads to protect them. Beware. The guardians repel all interlopers.
So why don't we have...
Defenders aren't very discerning.
Sounds like our... Is there some way to talk to them? No.
The Fate Tear. That's where they're breaking through.
Guess we can thank the gods for that.
We got company.
The gods take their due. I command more.
I feel the gods.
On your left. Nice one, Balara. Don't stay there.
This cannot be.
They're shooting for us. Move, move!
Yeah, it's a
The last of them?
bit shaky. I'm gonna see what it's like plugging in a controller. Hopefully this isn't a terrible idea. Oh my god, this sensitivity is so low. Hang on a second. Nope, I need to press the actual start button. Settings. So the mouse sensitivity was like 3.5. Alright, horizontal sensitivity, we're gonna make like 200. Aiming sensitivity, horizontal.
These roots may be unbound, Dweller. Seek out what holds it closed.
Requires champion's essence.
Zeebs is a cutie.
Oh, hi there, Blue! Go eat a pumpkin? Hey, that's a new emote. I haven't seen that one before. Welcome, welcome! How are you doing? I'm just playing Dragon Age Veilguard. I had, like, you know, my brain is going from, like, one place to another with some of my topics, but I just want to play the video game and not think about how I want to, like, eat hamburgers or something like that. Because, you know, you're taking your day off before work tomorrow? Hey, I gotta go to work tomorrow as well. Samesies. It's my turn to do the Saturday shift. I have a new pair of shoes that I'm gonna be wearing tomorrow as well. They fit me, like, yesterday when I was, like, in the store and what have you, because, like, as I told you before, I'm actually a size 9 rather than a size 10, but I'm also a size 9 wide. I'm not just a normal size 9. So I've got a new pair of shoes that are meant to, like, support me and what have you, which is nice. I wore them a little bit this afternoon / evening when I was just in and around the house, but I noticed that, like, I don't know what's up with my feet, but they didn't feel as tight in the store as they do when I was just sitting here. And I have no clue why that is. I don't know if it's because I wasn't wearing shoes all day, so my feet just decided to be like breathing out, like just like, ugh, and then because of the restriction of the shoe, it's just like, nope, doesn't like it, and so I'm just like feeling tingly and shit. So I'm gonna see what I'm like tomorrow with the shoes and such as an all-day affair, and if it's still a problem, I'm probably gonna go back to Athlete's Foot and be like, hey, I've worn these for like, a day and a half, and I've noticed they're still a little bit tight. I might need to get like, we might need to like resize me or something, because something doesn't feel right for me personally. I don't know if it's just because I'm not used to wearing, because I was wearing size 10s for a while, and I wore some I probably wore some fairly loose size 10s, perhaps. So I'm not too sure if it's a case of I'm a size 9, but they need to do something else, or if they, measured me incorrectly and I am a size 10 instead. Who knows? I certainly don't. I'm dreaming, but this time I know I am. Even if I didn't, this place would tell me. I never dream of a place like this. Cities are full of people. An empty city is the bones of a good meal. A reminder that makes a hungry woman sad. 8th Age of Blessed. Interesting, okay. Let's have a look here. Oh, another fast travel point. Thank you. So a converged city or something? There we go. Alright, so right bumper does that. Ooh, an uncommon gear for Harding. There we go. Hopefully they'll like... Also, we got enemies down there.
The Guardians can't hold them off for long.
Ugh, is there something inside it?
Oh. Interesting that it's giving me a little bit of a... No, so that doesn't break. Okay. What's this?
A wolf. Bet I know who that's for.
Oh, hey, the knife does something. Interesting. Oh, I guess we follow the treasure? Also, who the fuck is that tree dude? Unmapping the unmappable. Average foot Andy. Look, I'm fine with an average. I just want to know what my shoe size is, okay? I just want to know what shoes I should wear that would be appropriate for me all day wearing while I'm in like an office, sitting down or walking around and what have you. I don't want to feel tightness along the top of my foot. I don't want to feel like my pinky toe is just sort of like about to fall off the side of it or is pushing to the side, okay? This appears to be a piece of litter. Closer inspection reveals that it's an obsessively drawn map folded like a Rivani paper toy. Unfolding it creates a three-dimensional model of... something. A scrawled note is visible. I refuse to be beaten. These are reflections of true places. They have logical form. Therefore, these streets and their origin points can be mapped as anywhere else. I have charted the shifting, intertwining dreams of a primordial sloth demon and its victims. I will not be bested by architecture. My mentor keeps whining. Some things are unknowable, Varian. You're counting madness, Varian. Well, I say to him... Would a madwoman consort an entire new schema of wisp mapping incantations just for this? The rest is unreadable. They sound like they've gone crazy. Alrighty. And then we've got... Hello. Alright, so... Harding. You got...
I'm on it.
Oh, interesting. don't exactly appreciate the weird noises it makes. So... Oh, I see what's what. Alright. So we're gonna put you here. So then that way we have a... We have like a little trekking and such. No, that doesn't help me. Also, why is the camera doing a thing? Dun, 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 dun. Also, it tells me there's like a... Oh, hello. Did I read? Yeah, I already read this one. I already read from the blessed thing. Oh, and then... This is a place?
What's this? It looks like an entryway?
Oh. Wait, am I doing this barefooted?
What's going on here?
That poor spirit's being held prisoner.
Oh. Hello.
You're awake. How's your head? The guards really knocked you about.
Well, it's,
Do you remember our mission? Gillinane's lab. The wolf sent us to infiltrate her testing grounds. Things didn't go perfectly to plan, but the wolf smuggled in help. A key. If you can fight, grab the key and we'll run for it. Just be ready for whatever the witch has in store.
Sounds good.
Like all she sees is another ancient elf. One of Solas's...
Ah, freedom. We'll move faster if we split up. See you ahead.
Alright, so we're just, you know, providing trauma help, guidance.
Light, be careful.
These are more than just memories. Fight!
So Gillinane was experimenting with blight in Darkspawn. Blight infested her lab. If it's a memory, let's go with it. We need to find our way out before Gillinane finds us.
Okay, so that's the heavy attack. Cool. Oh, hello. What's in this side path here? The Mother of Hala? A pantomime theater mask of Gillan. In narrative, she is the price and acceptance of purpose, and the becoming that allows no return. Betrayal and devotion becomes equal to her. Okay. Weird stuff.
Wolf, you came for us. Your key was enough.
This unnatural corruption demanded my...
Wait, that's Solus? Look at the... Are you fucking serious? Hang on.
Already blocked the escape route I had planned. We will need another way to the surface.
Solus with the fucking long-ass hair? Look at this motherfucker.
You must cut through these monstrosities before Gillinane unleashes something worse.
Solus sounded... rattled.
He was spooked. By the blight, I mean.
And he had hair. Like, a lot of hair.
You see boundless creation and choose to destroy it? Learn respect for the life that will succeed you.
She's using the testing grounds against us.
There we go. Every time you use a potion, you have a 10% to gain it back. Yep, sounds good to me. Alright. Oh, pff. Getting stuck by a door, fuck's sake.
Time to go.
Free! And faster than anticipated. Perhaps you and your allies warrant more study.
We've got company.
Hello.
I think we broke through to Gillinane's prized specimens.
If this is what Darkspawn looked like when Gillinane was experimenting, then...
Maybe the Darkspawn we've been seeing aren't new. Maybe they're old.
There we go. More potions. Oh.
Here, the blessing you deny.
Wolf, help me! Ah!
Damn!
Ugh.
Gillinane got her.
My blood! I'm burning up!
Look out!
Your turn!
Okay, so I still haven't got, like, the combat down perfectly, even on the controller.
You would unleash a blight on this world and call it a masterwork! You, who are the most sensitive of us!
All that I am belongs to the pursuit of creation. You chose to constrain yourself. I must climb to the heights only understood by gods. I go now to join them.
Wolf, you are greater than any of them. Please, help me.
Come on, be the god she needs. Help her.
I am so sorry I failed you. There is only one way I can help you now.
Wolf.
This place and the corruption within it must be eradicated. No trace can be allowed to spread. Go. Your work here is done. There is no need for you to witness what I must
What
do.
is it with this game and the feet?
It's over. Solus destroyed the lab, the blight that was here, and his agent.
He wasn't just her leader. He was her god. And this is her reward?
This fragment might tell us more.
Well, that was a little bit annoying. Also, sound, please work with me. I don't know why sound is like having such a tough time. For whatever reason, the sound just doesn't want to do its thing. There we go. Thank you. Oh, and yeah, for whatever reason, like, sound and control isn't being perfect on the PC. And I don't think it's, like, a limitation with, like, the... I don't know if it's a limitation of, like, CPU or something. Because as far as I know, like, Control-Alt-Delete, Task Manager... Hi there, Queen Pick Kaiju. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing alright. Okay, so it looks like my CPU is just sitting at 100, so maybe I'm gonna need to close a few things. Sitting at 99, sitting at 100. So the Ultra Leap, 10 services of EA, one of them being the Dragon Age. Vignon. Okay, why is Feedback Hub doing something? Fuck off, Feedback Hub. Streamer bot, Jabber. For whatever reason, my CPU just having all sorts of, like... It's not even that old of a CPU. Like, come on. How is it dealing with, like, 100... Can it not do the leap motion? Is that it? Am I gonna have to, like, turn it off? Pause tracking? Quit service? Let's see. Yes, quit the... Alright. That's a little bit annoying. Like, my CPU just sitting at 100... Like, even right now, it's sitting at 94. Like, EA is asking for more and more of my CPU as I play. It barely asks for my GPU, but the CPU, it has, like... Golly... OBS asks for 14%, EA asks for like half. You know, that's a shame. That's an honest shame. I was really... Like... Fuck, I can't use the leap motion if I'm, like, busy, like, playing games on here. Let me do my aiming, please. There we go. So the two of them are on the thing. Grab you. We can drop down to here. But yeah, This dude is barefoot. Like, pretty sure that dude is just walking around with no shoes on. Yeah. He's like, where the fuck are his shoes? And then Lyrium Dagger, I need to do things to improve it. This one has already been improved, increases the stagger. Did someone say feet? Yeah! Like, right fucking there. Is like, no matter what attire, my companions, meanwhile, they have shoes. Even this mage here, she gets proper shoes. I don't know why my character is given the fucking shoeless treatment here. Look, I'm gonna be real with you. Weird as fuck.
The gods' blight and blood magic has sealed the way. Only their champion may open it.
A champion?
It dwells on this island. Challenge the champion and claim its its essence, this path will open to you.
Toes too big. Goodness gracious. So, alright, so breaking that away. Alright, back to running around and trying to find the needful.
Our masters debilitate them!
Also, like, those guys are doing things, and I can't get to them from here. You know what they say about big feet? Immune to the force. I wish. Oh, hello. Yeah, I don't...
That's the champion we're looking for. Watch yourselves.
Don't just stand there.
You gotta move.
Alrighty, combo opportunity with you and with you. Do some explosions.
Get clear.
Oh, there we go.
Ready to go again. Get out of there. Ready here. Rook's in trouble. Get clear. Rook, they have something behind.
Champion's
That's
essence.
the essence we need. It's cold. Ugh. Hope I don't have to carry it for too long.
Hey, nice. Flame mana regeneration increases. So yeah, let's go for the normal one. And let's see if that weird gate has been unlocked. Yes, it has. Awesome. And I can get myself a potion. Open that up. The Heart of Andraste enhances the damage. Enhanced damage duration. Yes, please. And then pick up this. Drop down. I wish I set that up earlier. Why do you... So wait. You know, why do you wish, Grant? Is it because you have big feet? Huh? No, it's not... Force damage is one. Number two, turns out I am not a size 10 in real life. I'm a size 9. So I got a new pair of shoes, but I wore them like this afternoon/evening, and they still felt a little bit tight. So a part of me is not 100% certain if the casual staff member at the Athlete's Foot actually measured my feet properly, because they're like, yeah, you're an 8.5, and we're gonna give you a little bit extra, so that will be 9. And I'm like, cool, yep. Swear I was like a 10 because of Nike or some shit. And yeah, so I'm gonna see what my day is like tomorrow with these shoes, like, so start of the day to the end of the day, because rather than, like, you know, an entire day of my feet, you know, being out and stretching out and such. Gonna see what it's like when it's in the shoes for like most of the day. If it's still a problem, probably gonna go to a shoe, probably gonna go back to them on Sunday, or or Saturday afternoon, depending on time. And we're gonna go and, Ooh, awesome. Can we go down here? Oh, we can, because there's the ladder there. Hang on a second. So, yeah. Also, am I just, like, missing... Yes, I am just missing large swaths of... Wait, am I missing large swaths of area? I didn't think I... Oh, no, I am. I am. So, requires a champion's essence.
See what unbinds. Bring it. The gods shall be denied.
Alright, hang on. Climb up here, so then that way we can get this thing. Pick you up. Oh, this is a cool looking door. Alright, boom. There we go. Opens from the other side. Damn it. It's gotta be one of those kinds of doors, doesn't it? So yeah. But I did learn that, like, I'm not, like, a standard size either. I'm, like, I have to go with a wide size. And, like, I kind of favor my right, so currently inaccessible. Oh, geez, thanks. Annoying. So, yeah, yeah, I just need to go back to Athlete's Foot with my receipt and be like, hey, it doesn't feel right. Oh, interesting. There's that fucking tear. Giant fucking alluvians up the wazoo. God damn it, controls. Try to be nice, please. Talk to the crows to find the mage killer. Alright, so that's one. And then... contact the shadow dragons. Okay. Oh my god, these guys have their toes out too. What the fuck? What is it with this game and just having their toes out? Jesus. Also, am I, like, not able to do, like, greater exploration? Alright, let's see. No, so that tear doesn't do anything. That door is inaccessible for the moment. So yeah, so that's from Lost Ages. Deep Sorrow, I'm pretty sure we went through. Beacon, the Fenharel. And that's our current respawn point. Alright, let's go with toes gotta breathe. Yeah, no, I get it that toes have gotta breathe, but god damn it, I don't need to be barefoot when I'm running through this fucking rubble, do I? Also, hi there, friendly pylon. Welcome to the stream. I'd wave my hand, but I can't do that because the, start quest. I'd wave my hand, but I had to turn off the hand tracking and what have you because it was taking up my CPU, and this game, amazingly enough, does require quite a bit of my CPU, which is a little bit annoying.
Treviso, one of the finest cities in Antiva, now living under occupation.
Oh.
Let's hope our crow contact can meet us.
Welcome to Antiva. You must be Rook.
Hi. You don't sound very nice. But yeah, how's it going, friendly pylon?
And you're under Atea Kentori, of the crows?
Thea, please. Come. My associate Viago is gathering the others. We can talk business when we arrive.
The documents, it's all there.
Sloppy. Have your papers in order next time.
Of course. Yes, I'll be more mindful.
Good. We're here for your protection.
Are you? You sound like assholes.
My friend says come with us.
All right. I'm not trying to cause any trouble.
How long have the Antom soldiers been here?
We have suffered their company for too long. The Antam reached a stalemate in their war with Tevinter. Some turned here instead. Antiva was rich, comfortable, and has no standing army to stop them.
Uh-huh. Compendium of the Dead. I know that's going to be useful for someone. Pillars of Kal Sharok. Fool and a skull? Alright. We'll pick up these mementos. Weird, but okay. And a prickly box. Nice. Good emotionally, but sometimes consistent head pain. I'm sorry that you're getting head pain. I hope it doesn't become a, bronze helmets, Arlium, and... Alright, I won't buy any of yous.
Have you tried kale? It's a popular leaf lately.
Because knowing my luck, I'll have opportunities to go through the merchants later on. Oh yeah, there's a lot of you.
Welcome.
Ooh, hang on.
Got all kinds of crystals here.
Stagger and stagger duration. 20% area of effect. I'm gonna go for the stagger. Colorful gems. A glittering gemstone. And seal of House Whatsamahoosies.
The Antam almost shut us down because they don't like magic.
We have all sorts of medicines here for all sorts of people. You need anything for your comfort?
Lyrium dust. Watcher's hold is nade belt. Okay. Strange. I don't know who would benefit from grenade belts personally. Would be nice if I can get something with shoes. That's my...
I've got wares from all over the world if you'd like to take a look.
Council of Spirits. And I can't pick up any more mementos. Oh, Golden Line would have been a good one to pick up. Polished plate. We can get some gold if we exchange some wood. Compendium of the Dead is definitely for someone.
I've never travelled, but when this war is over, I'm going to go everywhere.
Oh, she was there, and now she's not.
Welcome. Mariana and I run the best fruit stand in Treviso.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you like.
Alright, so we can't go that way.
You went to the physician.
She stitched it well enough. Gave me what she could to ward infection.
What she could?
Fine decor for the finest homes.
Sketches. Huh. Cool stuff.
Excellent taste.
Hopefully we get to visit this market more than once.
It must be hard dealing with the Antam.
This occupation will not last. The Antivan crows remain. And one day, I will see a knife through every would-be tyrant's throat.
Hmm. Scary. This should be a staircase somewhere around here. But I guess this isn't the part where we... Because I know where a chest is. The thing is it stops me from doing stuff that requires lots of thought. There seems to trigger to get it worse fast. Yeah, migraines will do that. And it's unfortunate that the brain's only solution is, you know, you just need to, like, not do anything to aggravate it. Which, you know, sounds good in theory, but if you're kind of, you know, strapped for cash or needing to, like, you know, organize dinner and such, doesn't work out often. Oh, can I jump across? So I can't go through the door. No, I can't jump across to that. Because them fools are in my way. Alright, more exploring around as we look around. Ooh, thank you for the gold. Cat! But we can't pet the cat. Can we talk to you?
Butcher seems more reasonable than most Anthem, but he still doesn't want any mages in the city.
Okay. Alright, on to the zip line.
We have arrived.
Wow, this is not what I expected.
Welcome to the Cantori Diamond.
I am going to be collecting things, don't you worry. Ah, okay, so the Mentos improve the caretaker's power, whatever that means. Then we got field provisions. Interesting. Alright, up we go. Checking out this Antivan Crow fella. It's getting in the way of your German studies. It only takes a few minutes, but then the pain creeps in. Ah.
You're the client.
This is Rook. Did you want a drink? I promise not to let Viago near it.
Ooh, tempting.
Viago deriva, fifth talon. And this is Caterina della Morte, first talon of the Crows.
An honor. And you are?
Ilario della Morte, her grandson. What brings you here?
Right. My target is a pair of elven gods, or that's what they call themselves. They're ancient, blooded mages. My detective says you have a man who brought blood mages in Venatori to their knees.
Lucanis. My grandson. They called him the Demon of Virantium. He was
She's
the
just...
one who did those young...
Perfect! Wait, actually, what's the catch?
Sounds like there's more to it.
Lucanis della Morte is dead. He was killed a year ago now.
What I say doesn't leave this room. The body our people brought back was not my grandson. It was dressed in his clothing, but it had been altered with blood magic to have his...
I feel like the brother on the, like, whoever on the left is, like, not liking that news.
His ship was attacked. We knew someone sold him out. So you kept your suspicions to yourself.
But you've brought it up now. Why?
I've had eyes on the Venatori ever since they took my grandson from me. They were hunting your dread wolf. And what you did to his ritual threw them into disarray. They made mistakes, and now I have a location. The Ossuary, where the demon of Virantium is kept. Find this Ossuary. Free Lucanis. You'll have your god killer. And I'll have my grandson.
Sounds easy enough.
Come. Katerina arranged a boat. One of our mages will meet us there.
A boat?
Did you think the Venatori would keep a normal prison? Or that one could hold the demon of Virantium? The ossuary lies beneath the sea. A fact I learned mere minutes ago.
The enchantments required must be immense.
You're not happy Katerina kept this from you.
Would you be? Lucanis is family. Maybe she thought I'd act too rash if it meant saving him. And now, who can say if he's even still alive? There, you take the boat.
Alright, before we take the Oh, no, there's still people there, and I can't jump across just yet. So long as the people are there, I can't jump across. Alright.
Are you coming with us?
It's possible we've been watched. If all of us vanish from the dock, you play the alluring hero. I know Treviso. If we have a tail, I have a better chance of distracting their interest.
Someone is gonna backstab me in this game. Someone's gonna backstab me on the way of getting Lucanus. Darnsies.
So how do we get in?
You'll see.
Ooh. This should be good. So it's kind of like the underwater prison in Baldur's Gate 3. I know I shouldn't, like, think about Baldur's Gate 3 because that's an unfair comparison to Dragon Age Veilguard, but it's gonna pop up a few times.
Let's hope we don't run into whatever did that. Do we think Lucanus is still alive? I guess there's one way to find out.
Alright, let's have a read. Calavan. The other wardens don't want to go near that crow's cell anymore. Can't we get someone else to do it? Slaves, maybe? Wow, these guys are dicks.
Look. So this is the ossuary. This doesn't look like any prison I've seen.
Definitely something from the Elvish Kingdom, if I'm to say so. Also, I see there's a leak up there. No, nothing new there. Nothing new there. Oh, but there's something over here. Pure. Just let me pick up the pure art. There we go. Lyrium dust is a rarity, so that's definitely going to go to someone. Alright, so that's our doubling back point. So we can't go through there because of the water. Water is leaking out of there. Like, god damn! Fucking crazy spot, let me tell ya.
Well, we're not going that way.
This place looks elven. I bet it's been underwater since the gods were imprisoned, at least.
Well, the question is then, how did they get
I can't
in?
believe all this is underwater. If the enchantments containing this place ever failed.
They shouldn't, but they might. On top of that, we're looking for a killer. How sure are we that this is a good idea?
If we want to kill a pair of gods, maybe a demon is just what we need.
Can't wait for, you know, we meet the guy and it's like, oh, turns out he does have a demon in him. And we're gonna have a situation much like Anders in Dragon Age 2, where it's just like, uh-oh, there's a mage that's gonna backstab us. Thank you for the Imperial Weaves. Some heartwood. Alrighty, hearty potatoes. Color me. I have no clue who is interested in the hearty potatoes. The Dalish Nud sculpture, however, is a nice touch.
Magical barricade. Whatever's inside, the Venatori really didn't want it getting out.
Then we break through.
Alrighty. Oh, hello. Sorry, I want that chest. Exploring is always worth it in this game, quite frankly. You never know what you might get. here. So we jump across. Several barriers.
All right, we're almost through.
Color me curious. What's in... Oh, hello. More flawless crystals. I am Neres. I was Neres. We were... We are. Ooh, interesting. Hala's Grace. Interesting. Currently I got the Heart of Injustice, so quick in duration. Alright, so not for me's. Alrighty, let's see. Is there a fucking demon actually in this dude, or
We
a
don't
crystal?
have to fight. We're just here for the Canas de la Morte. Get ready.
Rising Hail, Dragon of Mystery, Lucican, Dragon of Night, hear your faithful call.
Oh. Good stuff.
I'm guessing you're the reason we're here.
Damn good, Antivan.
Who are you? Who sent you?
My name's Rook. Katarina sent me.
Katerina. But you're not a crow.
And you're possessed by a demon.
It's complicated.
Katarina promised us a mage killer if we broke you out of here.
I can still work.
Good, because I'm pretty sure more Venatori are on their way. We have to get moving.
Glad that my, thoughts.
They can use it to control me. I cannot leave it in their hands.
I'm glad that I was right in my thought of like the demon
One
thingamajiggy.
of my targets is here. Caliban. Crows don't break contracts.
Yes, the famous crow contracts. So you want a prison break, a blood heist, and assassination help just to get you out of here.
I'll owe you.
I'm sure we'll owe each other before this is all over. Let's go.
Alright.
So, first order of business?
Blood first, then my target. Caliban, the prison warden.
Where do we find them?
In the tower. There's a bridge.
Not anymore. We'll have to find another way across.
Lots of crazy stuff. Also, fresh breadstick down here? Damn, they've been feeding you.
Good. Mages, my specialty.
You're not.
Nice. Throwing him off the edge is a valid technique. Good to know.
Wait, were they torturing demons? How? Why?
They didn't all start out as demons. Zara made sure they ended up that way.
Zara?
Zara Renata. There might be a higher-ranking Venatori somewhere, but I don't know of one. This place is all her.
Alright. Felicia. What exactly does she expect me to do? It's been over 300 days now. It was supposed to take a week at most. If Zara's brilliant process failed, how does she expect me to salvage it? Okay, can't break that one. Oh, hello. Alright, so I broke at least one thing. Imperial Weaves, thank you. And then some more rusty tools. But I don't exactly have a way of breaking that motherfucker. Does he have a technique? I don't have a good way of breaking it either, which is annoying. Alrighty.
Undead! Well, dead bodies animated by spirits, technically.
Zara Renata's work. This place exists for her to make new, worse kinds of demons.
And I can't jump across. I'm gonna need a star thingy.
Venatori ahead.
Mine.
We face through the fight.
There we go. And then we can take this fella. If I can tinker with it. It will not let me tinker with it. Annoying. Gold's nice. There we go. More of the undead
This
killed.
is fascinating. Ordinarily, a demon would barely be able to perceive someone like Lucanus.
It's complicated.
Okay, where's the complexity coming from then, Lucanus? Alright. So we picked this up. Alright, I'm going to make the long way back, so then that way we'll have an opportunity of seeing what's across that bridge. Jailing demons is mean. Let them go out and commit great crimes of peace. Demons, not so much. Spirits? Yeah, let's try and free the spirits, personally speaking. Alright, so quick the hardwood. What's in you? There we go. A storm sphere? Interesting. Oh! Also a report on Prisoner 20. Incubation was 18 days. Oh, okay. That's not so great. Alright, so we were able to open that. Alright, next thingamabob. Now, what do you think are the chances? Fading Sight, thank you for the follow. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you're having a wonderful time. Power crystals. Alright, cool. So they reappear there. So how does... Okay, so that one has... Ah, I see. So we gotta break that one, which will break this one, which will then break you and you. There we go. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful time. I am going through... Healing belt. Yes. Give me the better belt. Don't take my shirt in front of the new people! I don't have my arm tracking on because the game is too intense, so I'm just stuck like this. You was cold. Of course. Sure. Sure you were. Sure you were cold. Alrighty. So, Crystal, you're mine. And then put you here.
So, the blood vial the Venatori took?
It's for blood magic, to control me, and the demon. Until it's gone, I cannot touch Caliban.
Alright. Do it. You're literally serious. You know you're going to make the decision. Foot safe. Don't worry. I hate Veilguard, so I can't stay for long. I don't want spoilers, but Definitely do want to support you and get you playing Dragon Age more, then we could definitely watch it. I have gone through... Thank you for the message, though, Fading Side. I do appreciate it. I have gone through the Dragon Age series, like, prior to streaming personally. I've gone through Origins 2 and Inquisition. I didn't like Origins. I'm not a huge fan of the whole, let's be tactical, but in real time. If you're gonna give me a pause button, just make it fucking turn-based, like it is in Divinity or Baldur's Gate 3. Don't do this bullshit of, like, oh, let's make it so it's, like, you know... oh, live action nonsense. So, I like Dragon Age 2 personally. Inquisition I liked more, and we're gonna see how we go with Veilguard. I'm having a few, like, technical issues with it, like with the sound, sometimes, like, being able to do, like, a major cutoff, or the, blah, 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 or the, like, the controls just sort of lose tracking for a little bit, but it had an update this, morning, so I imagine there's gonna be an update as well.
Fine.
I imagine there's going to be, like, updates going forward as well. So, I understand you don't want to deal with spoilers and what have you. I am still early days. I have not yet found all the companions yet. So, I'm just sort of going through them and what have you.
He says he can get it across.
Who is he? The demon pulled all of that from the Fade?
I'm as surprised as you.
Alright. Color me curious about the demon. Oh.
They're fighting? But the Venatori summoned all these spirits.
Blood mages, they never learn. Zara can summon all of the demons she wants, but they don't have to obey her.
What did Zara want all these undead for?
Nothing. Those are the failures.
If those are
Oh, okay, so runes go into the Lyrium dagger. Interesting.
failures, what does success look like?
She took the best results out a few days ago, but some of the demons she created are still here.
So, yeah. Also, how dare you bonk me? Alright, so Worn Pickaxe is going to be useful for someone. Oh, thank you for the hardwood. Token of True Flight. 20% projectile ability damage. Ah, that's ability. That's not like standard damage. And then the wardrobe does nothing.
Did you see it?
Trying to get attention about what I said. I understand what you mean. Dragon Age was my favorite game in the world. Dragon Age Veilguard is blowing my expectations out of the water. I absolutely love it. It won't take over for me personally, but it's going to be a strong contender. So it's still early days for me with Veilguard and such, but the thing is like, it's going to be a little bit tricky considering like Dragon Age Inquisition, I feel like had a really good number of companions, and the fact of like, oh, there's so many of them because some of them can actually go away and others will others will stick around and such. And even characters that I do not agree with, I still think are quite compelling and what have you. So for example, Vivian. I do not like Vivian. I think she is a representation of mages that are in the status quo. They are fine with like the idea of like the Templars and shit because they just go through a system of like, oh, the Templars are a necessary evil and it would be nice if we just, you know, fix the police a little bit and what have you. But it's like, no, like the Templars are problematic full stop because the Chantry just has like a huge problem with magic full stop, and they would not want to contend with the fact that, you know, the Herald of Andraste was a mage herself, and that they should probably have a bit of a more nuanced take with the mages and such, and so they have the Templars, you know, abusing their powers and what have you, and you know, this whole fear and shit. So Vivian does not care for, like, she cares for the mages to some degree, but it's more from a sake of like, you know, she's a mage herself, but only for the issues that's like her issues as a mage. So she's totally fine with the idea of like locking them up and shit and using the Templars to like, you know, keep them together and nonsense. And it's like, no. Because she only knows what the Chantry has taught her, which is like, you know, mages will be possessed by demons. But the fact of the matter is that like it's a little bit funky that sure mages are going to be possessed by demons 9 times out of 10 over a human, but interestingly enough, it's the Chantry that seems to have more of themselves, you know, possessed by demons and shit rather than the Dalish, for instance. So, also, why is it telling me there's a okay, so it's the chest isn't around here. It's down here then. Because it's right in front of me, I see. Ooh, good catch. A split hilt dirk for a spell blade. Nice. So yeah. Also, I need my shirt, friendly pylon. Oh. Can I go down here?
Colavan, you said he's the one in charge?
No, he's a lackey. He runs this place for a powerful magister. He was my target a year ago. Now we both want him dead.
We meaning...
Demons don't forgive.
Ah. Noted. Do not get on the demon's bad side. Ooh. 20% ranged attack damage. Yep, I'm gonna wear that immediately. Another memento. Interesting cube. A small painted box. And then we get a mysterious coin. I wonder what happens when the caregiver gets more and more powerful. I'm really curious. Oop. Controls, come on. There we go. Boink. And that's not useful. This up.
Attack! These demons, they've been... Did the Venatori do this?
They're why this place exists. This is what success looks like.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, awesome. I level up. And I get more. Get another. Ah, skill point. Alright, let's have a look. Core mage shit. So I got 4 points to spend. Fade strike. Circle, circle, then thingy. While airborne. Jump attacks guarantee critical hits if the enemy is knocked down. Sustained, your attack gradually increases its damage output the longer it is active. Staff generates passively when you're not in combat. Okay, I'm definitely going to accept that. And that. Alright, so what's this stuff? Then release at maximum charge. Okay, and then there's concentration. Alright, let's practice our concentration. We can do burst. Spellblade is an Antief and Crow thing. Trained on the Mithrathos streets, the Shadows of Dragon Evoker uses ice to control the battlefield and delivers powerful magic to take away enemies. Okay, and then the Evoker does, like, spell nonsense. Also, why is it giving... Oh, it's giving me the arrow because of the health potion that's up there, no doubt. Let him head over here. There we go. Good stuff. Alright, what's in the chest? The Defiant Silence. Increase the defense and the ability damage. Yes, please. That is just an overall... That is just a marketable improvement. Alright, and then open this. Take my potion. Break the pod. Hi there, Sky. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing alright. Report number of Prisoner 51. 100 days. The emergence is passivity, declared a failure, and destroyed. Ugh. And Sir Dragon just going for a quick little fishing. Fishing good. Alright, glad I took the long way. Oh, hello, treasure again. Also, what did you catch? An eagle ray. Nice. Alright, some pure iron, some coin. Anything else here? Oh.
These guys. Let me hit him first, then you can take him down.
Alright, so you are gonna do deliberate. You're gonna do the fates.
Take this shot.
Nice. Big reactions. 52% himbo. Nice work. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so it's not... Wait, can you go down? Oh. Well, that was dumb. There's a chest somewhere.
I don't think that's a good sign.
We may not have much time. This way. There's a shortcut.
Lead the way.
I'll handle it.
Alright, next skill.
Of course.
There we go. I was wondering why it was taking so long. Hi there, JB. This is something I could not do before. What's something you could not do before? The himbo ratings or the cute ratings? You're watching the Zeebs in 720? Hey, nice! I've been doing, so I've been doing like some enhanced broadcasting on my side, so there's actually a little bit of transcoding that's been going off on my side. You like the improvement? Thank you. I'm glad that, you know, peeps have been able to, like, you know, benefit from the enhanced broadcast method. So rather than me, like, you know, streaming at like my highest quality and then whoever gets lower just being like, oh, tough shit, it chuckle fucks or such. Instead, I'm able to do the enhanced broadcast, which makes it so that there's like multiple levels you can work with.
I know it's here. We can smell it.
We? Fuck you mean we? I don't smell shit. Also, I see they're not going to let me have an easy route here. Oop. Alright. Collect that. Another memento. Alrighty. Ding. Dong.
I'm on it.
So he just pulls that shit from the fade. Breaking you. Alright, let's see. What is here? Alright. Some pure ore, an oil lamp, some weave. What's about... Oh, hello. Destructible environments. Always Always get me by surprise. Twin buckle bindings. Grants quickened on potion use and increases potion effect. Sure, let's go for the better. Let's go for the belt. It's a little bit better. It's not perfect, but a little bit better.
Not a problem.
There we go. Don't mind me as I explore.
Wait, we cannot go after Colivan yet. Not while he has my blood.
Noted. Let me just, you know, find out where the next rock is. Also, I want to destroy all this shit. Yay! Property damage! And it's totally alright because we're the heroes of this story. Your internet has not been this crisp in years? Oh, damn, Jerry. Well, I'm glad that your internet is doing it better for you, so you're able to enjoy a stream such as this. Hopefully, someday in the future, you'll be able to get a stream, or you'll get a stream that's at like 1080p or something, which would be good. Alright, and then ding.
1 down, 2 to go.
There, just one crystal between us and the other side of that.
That's it. The barrier should be down.
There we go.
Let's see what's on the other side.
But yeah. You would not push it that far? Shame.
Wow, that's less of a vial and more of a bottle.
There. That's the one. It has to be.
Yeah, that's a very fucking big bottle. Like, you had to give that much blood. It seems a bit ridiculous, I'm gonna be real with you. Or maybe it's like blood with like heaps of other people's in it, so they were just trying to make an amalgamation thing. Alright. Calivan, you know as well as I do how demanding Zara can be. Nothing less than perfection is ever acceptable. Of course, she's not going to accept that the crow is a failure of her method. Just kill him. Perhaps the demon will manifest when he dies. Oh. So the demon wasn't always in him, was it? Or perhaps were they unable to add a demon into him because there was already a demon there? Interesting.
It's finally gone.
So now what?
Now we find Caliban.
Before that, I am just gonna make sure all the pots are destroyed. Oh my god, we're actually getting things from the destructible environment. Oh my god. This game is giving me, like, too much fun. Unfortunately now I have to, like, wait for the mana to come back. I want to break loads of things now. It's like being able to, you know, be Superman for a minute. Just, you know, running around in your cardboard, what's some koozies? Just getting all kinds of nonsense. It's like, actually, you know what it is? It's like playing Lego games, like Lego Star Wars or shit. Alright, let's take the elevator.
So, Lucanus, your demon, feeling contained?
Mostly.
Mostly?
Fine. We can talk about something else. What's Katarina like?
After so long in this pit, I barely remember.
It's been a year, mate. Also, stop doing the... Stop having my camera not want to do the thing. Hello, Venatori.
This was entirely unnecessary. Zara and her little jests. He's already the demon of Virantium. Won't this be ironic? Hilarious. And now look at the mess you've made of my facility. She always leaves me to clean up.
You must say your farewells. It's late. It's very EP. Not to worry.
The target I was sent for.
I am I can be a little bit sleepy as well at this hour, I'll be real with you, but I want to keep going for a little bit longer.
They offer you in exchange for my life, Crow? Was it worth it? Oh, you brought ruffians with you. Were you lonely? You are a failed experiment, not worthy of my time.
Alrighty. Deliberate and ding. Let's see how good you go.
Demons, your master calls.
Now's your chance.
No, I will not be a victim like the others. I will not be defeated. I refuse to fall. I will have order.
Oh, that's him, Dad.
The crows send their regards.
So we got your target.
Yes, the job's done.
Smells like blood. Ashes. Not done, not yet.
Lucanus, are you alright? Lucanus, what are you looking at?
Careful. They know we're not right.
You cannot see him. I wondered.
We clearly have things to discuss. Somewhere else.
I wonder why we get to see him, but not, like, Rook.
Time I got some air.
Interesting. So we don't, like... So in the normal, like, playthrough, are we just not able to see... Yeah, it looks like he's not standing there or anything like that. Alright, Ooh. God's Foil, which is better than his balanced Epi. Yep. Let's go with that one. Numbered prison cells, each followed by a single word. Despair, shame, and horror. Ooh, exploring the ossuary. Lady Zara. The work is progressing slower than anticipated. Though the artificers were confident that they could make use of the elven device maintaining the barrier, they were unable to extend its reach to more than a handful of yards in any direction. Most frustrating, I sacrificed the worthless fools. That gained us another 6 feet or so. What we have thus far excavated has proved most interesting. The structure appears to have served as a temple to the elven god Gilanian. I had thought the tales of her creating various woodland creatures were mere superstition, but the holding cells and cages with the remains of animals no one can identify suggest otherwise. You should visit. I think you'll find the place intriguing. Cool. An arcane stave. Yum. Nice. Now, excuse me while I investigate separate corners. And then there's a glossary, so we'll probably... Not the Edward Granny swell up to Muscle Mountain. What?
Shall we go?
Well, let's go.
I'm ready to get out of this place.
Imagine how I feel.
Absolute jubilation. Ah! Treviso. Cantori Diamond.
Make it.
Lucanis, what happened here? A message from Zara Renata. I can't believe it. You're home. Zara? Her people got this close?
The woman who runs the prison?
The Venatori witch who captured me.
Revenge for the breakout, maybe?
Where's Katerina?
Oh no, she dead, isn't she?
She's...
The Venatori caught her in their confusion. I get one of you back, only to lose the other.
Hi, Lilo and the Cineroar.
Someone killed the first Talon of the Crows now? After the gods escaped? That's not a coincidence.
Zara's been a thorn in our side before, and you said yourself, it could be revenge for your prison break.
No, Rook's right. The timing is suspicious for many reasons.
When I find Zara...
Is it because of the accents?
You just got here, and already you want to leave again? Katerina gave me a contract. I'm not breaking the last deal she ever made. And I owe Rook. Once that's done, I'll come home.
Can't say your new contract's easy, but we'll be as quick as we can.
Cousin, when you find Zara, I need to be there.
We are under attack. Antam on one side and Venatori on the other. Forget revenge. We need you.
No, Viago. Sara came for us here, in my house. She took Katerina from my house. You find her and cut her heart out, Lucanis. Vi and I will hold down the fort.
I'll give her your regards, Thea.
For Katerina.
For Katerina. So I'm guessing that's his,
The Crows had lost a Talon.
So I'm guessing that's, like, gonna be his, like, you know, character arc is gonna be trying to revenge for his mother. Or grandmother, sorry.
Sooner or later, debts new and old would come due.
Hmm.
And they would all be paid in blood.
I have no fucking clue who that is. That's maybe Zara, but that doesn't really give me much, I'm sorry to say. And we come back to the lighthouse, which does not feel as spooky.
They're the same thing. Mostly, kind of.
Except one will manipulate you, or kill you, or both.
But how do you get rid of them?
What's everyone talking about?
Spite.
The demon in Lucanus. When a person gets possessed, the demon usually takes control.
And they turn into a monster. The spirit just molds them however they want.
I've heard of abominations being cured by killing the demon in the Fade. That's not a sure bet, though.
And is,
Well, there's
you
one
know,
way. But it's, well, we'd have to,
You'd have to kill me.
Oof.
Well, that's awkward.
He's fun. You're never fun.
Okay, I was hoping for a better line than, well, that's awkward.
Before we do, well, that, let's think this through some more. There has to be a solution.
I have people in Marathas I can ask, but I wouldn't get my hopes up.
All right. So what next?
Let me talk to them. I want to talk to
Lucanus!
Nope. It's fine. I'm fine.
Your nose bleed.
What did he do that for?
Throwing a tantrum when he doesn't get his way.
But he could just take you over, make you do what he wants.
It's, you know, not great, but kind of good news, in a way.
You're bleeding. Maybe that's not fine.
He won't kill me. He cannot do that and get what he wants. Just give me a minute. He'll get bored once everyone leaves.
No offense, but having an abomination in the lighthouse makes me nervous.
Well, being an abomination makes me nervous too.
Lucanus.
Can I want to change my choices.
Please.
I want to change my dialogue choices. This was like not that great because like it felt very Guardians of the Galaxy. Where it's just like, well, that's awkward. It's like no. We're gonna need to do a different set of dialogue. With the team's help, the Demon of Verantium escapes his change and completes his contract. Cool. Can I do... Oh, nice. Hang on. So, we got a temporary save here at 2039. Does this... Will this one work? Will this let me, like, get chatting before the dialogue? Yeah!
They're the same thing.
What's everyone talking about?
Spite.
The demon in Lucanus. When a person gets possessed...
And they turn into a... Well, there's one...
You'll have to kill me.
If things get out of hand, that's always an option.
Careful of him. I want to talk to him.
Before we do, well, that, let's think this through some more.
Can Bellara see the demon?
I have people in Marathas I can ask, but I wouldn't get my hopes up.
All right. So what next?
Let me talk to them. I want to talk to
Lucanus!
Nope. It's fine. I'm fine.
No, you're not.
What did he do that for?
Throwing a tantrum when he doesn't get his way.
But he could just take you over, make you do what he wants.
It's, you know, not great, but kind of good news, in a way.
You're bleeding. Maybe that's not fine.
He won't kill me. He cannot do that and get what he wants. Just give me a minute. He'll get bored once everyone leaves.
Do I want to flirt? Like, because I'm going to be real with you. The empathy in me asks, should you be alone right now? But it's like, why did they make that a romance? Like, they're making it clearly a romance option. This is turning into such a... Like... How cringy is it going to sound?
I don't like leaving you alone with the demon.
You don't have to worry about me.
Lucanus,
Please.
Okay, it wasn't like, you know, I was worried that the dialogue was going to be like the oofies, where it's just like, I didn't fully appreciate it. I like that one, like, the like, granted, it was a romance option, but I do like that it was like, you know, hey, let's, you know, like, it was a very empathy sort of choice.
He is in rough shape under the Entom's occupation. I should see how the crows are doing.
So, yeah.
You asked for time. Is this long enough?
Yes, my head's clearer, though I would kill for a decent cup of coffee.
Have you? For coffee, I mean.
Not today. You've got questions. You might as well ask them.
You're the best mage killer in the Antivan Crows. So how'd the Venatori catch you?
Someone set me up. I had a contract for Colivan, in the ossuary. I took a ship from Treviso to Minrathus. They were waiting for me. Knew which ship and when it would arrive. I don't know how they convinced the crows I was dead, but I woke up in the ossuary with Zara gloating about it.
Okay.
I know Katerina volunteered you to work with us. Are you okay with that?
When the first talent of the crows gives you a job, you do it. Especially if she's your grandmother. But there's plenty of reason for me to work with you beyond that, Rook.
Such as?
I owe you a debt, for one. And after a year in that hole, maybe I'm looking forward to stabbing a god or two in the back.
The crossroads can be dicey, but the lighthouse is safe. Oh, and if you see a spirit around called the Caretaker, they're friendly.
After the ossuary, that will be a pleasant change. You haven't asked about Spite.
From what I've seen, I'd say he picked the right name.
He's stronger when I sleep, so I try not to do it much. No one was in the ossuary by choice, not even the demons. We both did what we had to get out of there.
So, if you're an abomination...
I suppose I should get used to that.
But I heard that only mages can get possessed by demons.
Mages get possessed because of magic.
The blade, but I promise you, without Spite, I have the magical talent of a brick.
Alright.
There must be some difference between a demon deceiving their way into a body and being forced into one. Only Zara knows for sure.
We should know. Is there anything in particular that upsets Spite?
Not getting his way. Getting his way and not liking the outcome.
Sounds like a child.
Have you seen a child when they realize they don't control the world? Except Spite's anger has real power behind it. Leave Spite to me. If he's trapped in this world, he has good reason to fight for it. For now, I must honor our contract. Gods, magic, politics.
I do like his outfit, though. Look, I wish I could have this outfit for my Rook. It looks very... I love the fancy formal. It looked good. It looked good. Alright, so he's got, like, not that much there. Alright, nothing new here. He just sits around the dining hall. Can't get to that thing yet. Can change the decoration here. Does Nev have anything for us?
Couldn't be one god, it had to be three.
Also, interesting, we have like a dialogue option down here. Let's have a look.
Oh, shit!
Oh.
No! Okay.
What are you making?
Try again. Deep breaths. There. Damn it.
Hey! Hey!
Sorry. Just breaking things.
Can I try?
Want help? I could, I don't know, kick it or something?
Oh, yes. Just be careful. Some things don't do well. If you break them, I mean.
What kind of don't do well are we talking about?
Explosions.
Oh, you know, reality tears, wild magical energy. Also, for some reason, bees. I don't know why. And I don't know why this won't work. Thought I'd figured it out. But it keeps breaking, and I can't get my thoughts to line up.
You fixed the Illuvian, though.
The Illuvian was easy. Once I replaced the resonance crystals, adjusted the lyrium lens, it worked fine. I mean, I had to realign the matrices, but it just worked. Not like this thing.
You're smart. You've got this.
You don't give yourself enough credit. You're smart. You'll figure it out.
Well, thank you for thinking that.
Of course. Also, what is it exactly?
It's the Nodus Dirthalin, the 8th archive. I heard it was gone forever, but here it is.
So what does it do?
It knows things, whatever its creator knew, at least.
Okay.
So much knowledge, all the wonders of Elvenon. Or at least bits of them, which is more than we have. Once I figure it out, at least, whoever made it was powerful, but clumsy. It's resonating off tempo. Need to match it. First, introduce a microfracture, but before that, you'll need the Fate Harmonics, so... Sorry, I ramble sometimes. I'm a rambler.
It's
Ruined a lot
fine.
of relationships. Most of the people I've been with didn't care for it. And I'm doing it. Again.
I could listen to you ramble all day.
Oh, well, same to you. Not that you ramble, you should talk more. I mean, you talk plenty. Just the right amount. Ideal talking. Okay. Anyway, the Nodus Dirthalin.
Yeah.
I'll get back to it. Soon. But I think I need a break. Maybe take a nap and I can finish later.
Good plan.
Personally, I always endorse napping.
Right. Never.
Oh, I can't do a thumbs up. Damn it. I can't.
I'll be ready.
Aw.
They'd found someone who could fix their mirror. One of Arlethan's own veil jumpers. Just what they were looking for. And Bellara had found something else. An artifact that held a wealth of lost knowledge. But a prize like that was going to attract more attention than they'd bargained for.
Don't like the sound of that. Packing list. Very important. Do not forget. 6 changes of clothes. 2, 3, 4 attunement rods. Collected cereals from Tevinter. Spice collection. Spicy. 14 jars. Spice collection. Dwarf. 8 jars. Spice collection. Human. 2 jars. Large and extra large pans. Good set of pots. Water skin. Water. Maybe. Fresh blankets. Soap for a person. Soap for a room. Soap for clothes. A soft pillow for the back. Firm pillow for the sides. Journal for working. Journal for personal. An extra journal for the working. And an extra journal for the personal. Pens. At least 3. Ink. And a stuffed hollow. Small. Irilyn is offered to help pack, unsure as to why. Well, she still feels bad about breakup. Alright, well I have an idea what to gift you then, because I feel like you've got a lot of spices and foods. I feel like that's going to be weirdly your thing. Alright, so. Oh hey, it's the caretaker. Interesting. Hello?
Manifestation.
Finding mementos across Thetis will increase the caretaker's power and expand their selection of improvements. Nice. So we can increase the maximum upgrade level. Nice. Ah, okay, so ding. And then we have our options for upgrades. So those are what I have currently equipped. Lara has Storm. Harding has My Regrets. Lucanus has God's Foil. covert feathers and a slender dagger. Dragon coat and snake's eye. Neat. Hi there, Tabitha. Looks like the game lets you have booba, but very basic skin tones only. It doesn't give you a lot of booba. Like, it gives you quite a few skin tones, I think. But it doesn't give you a lot of booba, I'm gonna be real with you. It gives you only enough. Note from the crows. Rook. The Antam occupying Treviso think they can outlast the crows. We believe it is time to prove them wrong. Come see us when you can. Ah. Interesting. No, we don't really have any solutions to this place, because there's clearly a way to open this further, but we don't have that solution yet. And it's weird that the hall is so long for, let's be real here, a music room. I didn't think it needed a long hallway for music dampening. Alright, so we got nothing through here. By very basic, I just mean normal. Oh. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to do, like, crazy stuff.
You can stop fussing over me. Go see what the others are up to.
I want your opinions about Lucaris. You have dealt with, like, you know, demon possession in the past before. I love when games say fuck it and give you the whole color wheel. Like, here's the thing. I don't do too much customization, but I can say for the very least that the whole, like, oh, fuck it, let's give you the entire wheel is not isn't something I'm, like, constantly looking for. Craft, there we go. Broken chains, chest set, and a shaving mirror. No thanks. A griffin lantern. Nug, elven base, an elven lantern. Nice. Alright. Alright, let's see. What do we got for outfits? So that one's always hidden. This one is the default. Watcher's robes. The cloth of this robe is thick as a blanket, yet soft as silk, and makes far less noise than it should. Explored Fen Harel's past. Nice. Promotional. Deluxe. Beyond the Stars. Promotional nonsense. Another Beyond the Stars. Promotional. Deluxe. Deluxe. Yep. Alright. Casual gear, however. Armor may cause clipping. God fucking damn it. Are you serious? Oh, hello. Oh, come on. There we go. Kinda better. The casual's kinda better, I will be real with you. Alright. So 3 different so 5 weapons, 7 outfits. So they tell us, like, bits and pieces, which is interesting. Slender dagger, heart piercer, crow keeper, and what have you. And then this one's got cat's eye, snake eye. Alright. Exit out of the decoration mode. And let's go deal with the next contract. Or not contract, but like the next major quest. Should give us a fast travel. Also, why do you give me the... Oh yeah, you always show me the logos, but you don't, you know, show me useful things. Travel to the required quest. Alright. So, let's go for Lucanus on this one. Alright, and you have Not that many abilities. Do you really not have that many? Apparently not. We're gonna need to fix that, but... Yeah, I reckon going with the Antivan Crow and the Frost Mage is probably a good combination, because we're going back into Minrathous, we're gonna be checking in on some connections, so... It's gonna be better than Scout Harding or the Veil Jumper. Glandival Square. Okay.
Minrathous, the heart of Tevinter. Somehow the beat of it always pulls me back.
It's just how I left it.
It always is.
Do the Shadow Dragons know we're here?
Nev Gallus! You only turn up when you want news. Or you've got some.
Tarquin!
And it's Rook now, I hear.
Tarquin?
I thought you'd be gone for good.
How are things?
Same old Mathis. Mages not letting us poor, ungifted wretches forget where we stand.
Cool gear.
You know the Viper.
I know he likes to make an entrance.
No one watches the rooftops.
Sure, that's what he says. So why the meeting? Is this about your work with Varric?
Something terrible got loose when we disrupted Solus's ritual. A pair of elven gods.
Gods?
They blighted a village in Arlethan, Demeter's Crossing.
There are Venatori whispers about that place. Now we know why.
What's been happening in the city?
Underground sacrifices, dangerous relics flooding the black market. The cults gathering power.
Relics? What kind?
We were tracking a set of red lyrium relics before you got here. Smuggled in recently.
They enhance blood magic and can summon demons far too easily. We destroyed one and tore another off a slaver.
We think the third's right here in Docktown.
Docktown's my home. If it's got problems and I'm here, I can track this faster than anyone in the city.
Hold on. I'm happy to help.
It's fine. I can catch up with you.
We don't know where the gods are or what they're doing. We're here for help. It's fair I give some in return.
The relics don't play nice with the Veil, and they resonate with each other. We destroyed the lyrium in the last one we found, but it should still track the third.
Give it to me. I'll get it done.
Alright.
We'll keep eyes on the Venatori. If there's a tie to these elven gods, we'll find it. And welcome home, Rook. Try not to get yourself run out of the city again.
We'll try not to, but thank you for the vote of confidence.
Ready for a tour of Docktown? Stick with me.
The relic the Viper gave us responds to the missing one.
And it is. It should pick up places where the missing relic disrupted the Veil. Find a trail of those and we'll get somewhere.
Found all this myself. Treasure. Don't touch.
Did you now? Chipped mug, chess piece, cheater's deck, dragon carving, bronze helmets, nothing.
Gold for treasure.
They call me Tick. Mother said I got stuck to her like one of them and drained her of life. Yeah, I guess it's not funny.
You know the antiquarian?
So you live in Docktown?
My whole life. Unless I'm away on a case. Or crashing in the Fade.
We can pet a dog! Nice.
Time you were here. And now we're chasing a dangerous relic through the streets.
And people wonder why I never get sleep.
Wonder who will benefit from the... Can I pet the cat? Nope, I can't pet the cat. I can pet dogs, though, however. That's always great. And that... Hi there, Jack. Welcome to the stream. I'd give you a wave, but unfortunately I've turned off my hand tracking because it takes too much of my blah 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 blah. It takes too much of my CPU processing when I play modern games like these ones I've learned. So, and I'm still, oh Jesus. And I still get moments like those cropping up. Alright, so we can't go through there. Open that for a worn pickaxe. And you won't let me use Diggy there, which is annoying. But yeah, welcome, welcome. How is your evening going? You done with work? Nope, can't use that. Ah, I'm enjoying the game. Besides, like, 2 or 3 of those moments where it's just like, oh, like, you know, the sound... The sound hasn't been having any issues, but what I'm getting right now is just the controls will decide to, like, just lock up, which isn't great. So, like, you might find me, like, you know, with the camera just suddenly going, like, vroom, like, veering off to the left. Like that.
Locked. We need another way in.
Right. On it.
We're breaking into a chantry?
We broke into a prison.
Temple locked down. Matter under control. Take your prayers elsewhere.
But no. The courtyard's public ground, and we can't lose the trail.
Hey, look, we can pet the cat. We can pet the cat. Done with work? You're just going through the moments? Look, fair enough. I was going through the moments. I am thankfully now like 131 kilos. This is like the lightest that I've been all year, and I'm trying to get like lower down. I'm going to be talking to the dietitian this Wednesday. So then that way, like, you know, I have an idea of like, oh, what should my like calorie goal be while I'm up in the States? Because I don't know why this is the case, but you can't just order OptiSlim from like whatever store and ship it to your home. Apparently, if you want to like purchase directly from OptiSlim, you have to go through a clinic. You can't do an online order in the United States. And I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? I feel like it's one of those, like, I think it's one of those weird cases where they're like, oh yeah, no, this is a medically controlled substance.
When you aren't with us?
I look for things.
Which
People,
wouldn't be great.
projects, information. People.
Inscription at the wall. For those lost to us throughout our glorious history, whether claimed by victory, tragedy, or the ever onward march of time, a light to remember the dead. May they shine in eternum.
Have problems that Templars and Magisters can't help. Or won't. Word got out I might.
So, glad the diet's been working, though. Yeah, no, it's been going fairly well. Oh, let's pet the cat again. I do wish I was losing weight faster, personally. But like, maybe the dietitian will tell me that I'm losing it, like, fairly well and what have you. Because I'll let them know of my experiences. And, camera, don't do that. So, yeah, because in the first, like, week, I lost, like, 5 kilos. And now I'm losing, like, a kilo, maybe 2 in a week. This week it's been a very slow weight loss, and I've been trying to like have my dinners like slightly early, so then that way like my body can go through a sort of ketosis. Because like if I don't have like, you know, meals for a certain period of time. Oop, there we go. Thank you. Nice. Ooh, hello. Many-limbed thingamadoogies? Oh, how did you get in? A helmet of light and shadow +3. Higher defense and ability? Yes, please. I don't think they were expecting me to make that kind of a jump earlier, I'm gonna be real with you. Ding. Biting ring, interesting. Love that weapon damage. But yeah, so talk to the dietitian, because like I feel like once I do get into the United States, there's definitely going to be a meal or two that's not going to be a shake. I just need to figure out whether it's a case of it's going to be one meal or two meals that are not going to be a shake. Because if it's going to be like, you know, two meals that are not a shake, I'm going to have to be like kind of careful. But if it's only one meal that's a shake, I'm hoping I can go like a little bit okay with like, you know, eating whatever the fuck. Although to be real with you, it is very tempting to just say, fuck it. And then when I get back, I just go back onto like the, you know, the full proper 3-month thingamadiggies. Because I've only been on this shake diet now for about... I think I'm coming up to my 4th week shortly. You ran out of gummy candies, the damn things I've been snacking on any given time. Your body's just been protesting and insisting that it's starving. Oh my goodness. My body doesn't do that with me. Like, it doesn't give me like a pain of like, oh, you should be eating more. Oh, your body is dying. It doesn't do that. Here's what it's like when I'm like, you know, hungry or something or rather, okay? My brain will decide to be like, the KFC tower has started being distributed. You should get yourself a tower zinger. That burger looks delicious. You should open up DoorDash. When was the last time you had sushi? Like, so it's all my brain that's doing it. It's not my body demanding that it's not like my body demanding I need to eat more. It's just my brain just, you know, oh, wouldn't it be great if I had hamburgers? Wouldn't it... Camera, can you not, you know, fuck around like that, please? I would greatly appreciate it. Oh, hello. What is you? Tevinter Shame. Interesting. Like many of you, I defended slavery. It was just how things were, and part of a natural order. Some, those with magic, those who ruled, would always be given care of others. To mistreat the enslaved was a mocking of this sacred duty, grounds for the harshest of punishment. Cruel slave owners were the problem, not the institution of slavery. I was, quite simply, wrong. There is no defending the practice of owning of another person. I am ashamed I ever did, and will eternally be grateful for those who helped me re-examine my beliefs. I hear you ask, when we tear down the structures that inform our culture, what is left? I challenge you, those of you who profess leadership, who would set yourselves above others, to see past what have been taught, and to forge a path of your own. And if you need foundational principles, then I charge you to choose from these. Respect, compassion, understanding, love. Magister Dorian Papa. Hey, this is from Dorian! It's, oh, no, don't pull the lever, Butch! Butch, no! So yeah, this is from Dorian Parvis. Dorian is from the earlier game, Dragon Age Inquisition. He was he wasn't a magister when we met up with him. He was just a mage from Tevinter. He looked like this this sort of like, you know, mixed Indian guy, and he knew like some pretty decent magic. He was attracted to men, and his father was going to try and do blood magic on him. It was a whole crazy kind of thing. Hi there, Butch Cat, welcome to the stream. Dragon Age, the Veilguard. But yeah, so it's interesting because, you know, he was like kind of like a cool uncle for Cole. He was explaining to him some things. You know, he was just such a cool companion. I had him in so many of my Dragon Age Inquisition like parties when we went out and such like that. So, and it's cool to see that, like, you know, he's changing it. He's like trying to do things against Tevinter. He's trying to like get rid of slavery and such. Because I remember like a dialogue thingy-majiggy that he had with Solus. Because obviously Solus, Fen'Harel, the Dread Wolf, does not like slavery. So he is absolutely appalled by the system. And yeah, is damn, it's good to read a Dorian piece again. That was great. I wonder if we'll see him in this game again. Alright, let's see. Mortal Concentration, Downfall. Alright, let's get another trait. We're gonna try and, you know, improve our core. We're probably gonna get quite a bit of spells and what have you, I imagine. We're gonna get levels through, like, just, you know, doing the side content, no doubt. Uh-oh. That's a veil.
Demons! Is this the relic's work?
It's not a coincidence.
End it now.
Nice. There we
The
go.
relic we're chasing, it's unstable.
Where it moves, Kate.
Another complaint. Rumors of someone shifty seen carrying some sort of relic. People are worried it's unstable and it might draw demons. Could be nothing, but we've got too many people on edge. I'm sending you to the temple. Just check it out so we can say we did. I'll meet you later. L.
Does follow.
Couldn't escape the demons. If there's family or a friend, I can track them down later.
Oh, hello.
Make sure they know.
A lot of resources here.
Relic. Courtyard. Back way.
Ooh.
What was that?
It's a remnant. An echo from the Fade drawn to magical disruptions. If the relic drew it here, the voice could be a memory of the smuggler. Courtyard's quiet, fewer eyes, so you cut through here, where there's a path to the market. Follow me.
Is there a potion somewhere? No, there isn't. It's just... Alrighty, break you, just so then that way I can get the health from it. Yeah. Camera really wanted to look at something, I suppose. Yeah, like, look, some games do that, where they're like, oh, let's just jump the camera to where we want you to look for the cinematic effect, which is like, I understand some of them doing that, but when it's a case of, like, you know, when it's happening here in Dragon Age, it feels way more of a case of, oh, it's kind of, you know, fucking up for me. More physical damage and increase of stagger, sure. So, like, that, I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate the camera, like, losing control like that, and it's to something directionless.
Enchantment on the entrance. I can get it. Alright, follow me.
Nice.
You know, I took this job. It's on me. And the Venatori cult's no joke. If anyone wants out...
Stopping Venatori is both our jobs.
And my specialty.
Well, there's something to have in common.
Nice. So...
The threads took care of it.
They're a couple away. You've got to give them that.
They fought a demon, but now what do you want?
They said it was a favor. You think he's acting different?
I don't know. There's demons loose. Everyone's jumping, right?
Oh, hello. But yeah, see how, like, the rain just, like, comes and goes with the noise? Also, why have I still not found a suit that's, like, you know, covering my fucking feet?
The relic was close. Find another remnant and we might learn more.
Like, I need a... Hello?
Working odd jobs is hard. One day you're moving crates, the next you're watching over a pack of donkeys.
Yeah.
Up there. Is that another remnant?
That should be no problem.
There's always a way to get places.
Too many people in the city.
You haven't dealt with crowds in a while.
No, and it's a lot of targets for the Venatori.
Alright, let's see. Do you have anything?
Shiny things for beautiful people.
Ooh, token of true flight. Barrier damage from projectiles is increased. Yes, please. We'll go for that little increase. Valuable stuff. No, thank you.
You understand the appeal of a good accessory.
Hey, any news?
Navgalis, are you after the demons?
I'm after a few things. You got anything?
Heard some people talking. I think one was a Venatori. I didn't get a good look. I took off before they saw me.
Smart move. Stay safe.
Paintings, tapestries, floor coverings. Beautify any space.
Sure. Fuck it. Let's get some.
What is life without art?
Life without art would be fucking terrible. Could you imagine a world without art, Jack?
Anyone strange poking around the market?
You mean more than usual? Actually, maybe. The smuggler who supplies Miro, she's acting weird. Took off, though. Couldn't tell you where.
Got it.
A lot on display. Nice target for thieves.
If a stand's not being watched, could be they have a nasty spell to ward you off.
Of course.
Alright, so.
Hey there. Hi.
Ooh.
But I've got armor, clothing. Come, take a look.
Toy figurine, Defiant Silence. Giving me more defense and giving me critical damage. Oh, I need like 1,000. Okay.
We'll get you something just right.
Imperial Weaves.
Coin to spare?
Here you go.
Thank you.
Demons in the streets tonight. Can you get somewhere safe?
Yeah. I got some.
Alright, I can't get to that. Alrighty. Jump. Okay, at least jump. Don't just, like, walk off the edge.
Remnants ahead.
Alright, nothing worthwhile there.
You bet.
Handoff. Third bell. Late.
Bells ring when ships go in and out. Could be using them for timing, near the docks. I think our smuggler's on a deadline. The Relic's pull agrees. Let's visit the docks.
Just parkouring around, barefoot.
Elevator's locked. Someone forgot to bribe the dockmaster. Still up for a walk? This isn't the only way to the docks.
Oh, and this...
Food later? Oh, yes, please.
Alright, through here.
And I have to deal with the magic.
Got it.
Ding. Don't know why I couldn't do that. I'm a magical dude. Imperial Weaves.
I'm guessing you know all the shortcuts in Dogtown. All its secrets.
Oh, free food voucher.
No. If someone thinks they know all Dogtown secrets, they're either kidding themselves or scamming you.
I love how I picked up now on, like, you know, the previous map that it's like, hey, you could probably get stuff by breaking it. Oh, hello. The ability goes low, but maybe we'll get something for our feet. Yeah, we get something for our feet. We're no longer walking around barefoot like a fucking degenerate. I cannot stand people going outside in public, like to a city or to a town, barefoot. That shit is disgusting. Like, how dare you? Like, I understand if you go to, like, a beach, or maybe you're at a, you know, one of those, like, water parks, but nah. You can't be going around barefoot at, like, a shopping mall.
They were back asking questions. Wanted to know what relics I'd seen on the black market.
You think it's for blood magic?
I don't know, not for sure. I got a bad feeling.
Come on. This path will swing back to the docks.
I should hope so. Nice. More visions.
More demons.
Not for long.
That relic's in Dogtown.
These are my neighbors. That relic won't stay in my town.
Mm-hmm. Alright, explode everything I need to look at. Jump.
This city hasn't changed.
You spent time here?
Before, yes. For a while. Though not in Dogtown.
Oh.
Cat!
You got the fancy targets.
I'm very expensive.
You zebra go to beach sometime? Not in recent years, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't have like a beach bod, so to speak, so it doesn't really suit me going to the beach. I'm more of an indoors kind of zebra. I like my indoor stuff. I like the cinema, I like the blah 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 blah. I like the cinema, I like the cafe, I like, you know, what do they call them? Like third places, I think they're, you know, colloquially known as. Oh, so, oh, hello.
I'll handle it.
Nice.
Consider it done.
Oh wait, hang on. What? There was something there. Interesting.
Sure thing.
Of course.
Nice. I'm glad I'm picking stuff up. Protection racket. The threads aren't the only racket in town. When word spreads, the coin will come to me. Demons take one look at me and run. A tidy arrangement, and who's going to argue with me then? Not sure why the demon wants a cut. No gold in the fade is there, but it insists. Whatever, I'm in control.
Give
Was
me
this
that
protection
leg,
racket
boy.
run by a demon?
Every third person runs a scam here. Guess the demon wanted in.
Don't give Spike.
No, I'm not giving you my leg, Kahlua. A Corvid calling mask. Huh. It might look a little bit better. But yeah, welcome back, Kahlua. No, I'm not, because I need it. I need to go to work tomorrow. I'll need to get up. I'll need to walk to the train station. Actually, I do need to have a look at, you know, what time it is and probably think about going to bed soon. What time is it? 9:30. Oh boy. All right.
Are the supplies?
I barely got away, and not without bruises.
Oop. All right. Climb up. Grab you. Grab you. Be careful when you're out at night. Everything's just... There's so much happening. I love you. Oh, hello. A even higher. Yep, cool. We're gonna go for that one. No, can't go on the roof. Shame. You're back from gym, so you're hungies. Have a protein shake. So, but yeah, hopefully you had a wonderful time at the gym. I should probably, once I'm off the shake diet, I might need to do gym in the future, or just keep a low diet.
Carl's getting bold again.
There we go. Ooh. That is some very thick meat there. What the fuck?
What can I get for you? Some grub? Some grog?
Crazy, the volume.
Sweet home. Enjoying the tour?
Huh? Okay, hang on. Why is there a... Oh, okay. No valid companion. Seriously? Some doors and mechanisms have lock on them. Break them with a simple and firm strike. Simple mechanism, easily manipulated, but apparently not for me to break, annoyingly enough. Damn. That'll annoy me to no end. Open that.
We're getting closer.
Alright, so that's the elevator that they locked away. Don't... And yes, I'm running around to look for treasures and what have you. I know you're waiting for me to do something, Nev, but give me a fucking minute as I... Oh. That's a fairly big treasure chest. Shock branch. Higher damage and a lot higher stagger. Yes. Let's go with that one, actually. And then... Oh, hello, ladder. Thank you. Alrighty. Okay. In exchange... Wait. Blah, whatever you need, bro. In exchange for luring your antelope friend to your house. So I'll get like a personal trainer if I just get you like good cuts of meat like a butcher. Currently inaccessible, bastard. Ah! Let me pick up things. Ooh, hello. Uh-huh. Okay, but where are you coming? You must be getting your hits from something. Excuse me. The Thread Crime Syndicate hates the cults as a rule, but I don't know. Things have been weird. Don't get mixed up in anything. Just lay low. Nope, my character will not drop from there. Annoying. It would have been funny if he did. What about here? Almost there. Dink. There we go. And then you pick that up. Alright. Alrighty.
I'm on it.
So yeah. But no. Lord knows I want to like have hamburgers and sushi again and what have you, but I'm gonna need to like practice / learn not to go for sushi, like, you know,
Not a chance.
like not to go for it like, you know, 3 to 5 times a week or something like that, or to have more than one hamburger a sitting.
Oh, looks like we have company.
Huh?
Is everyone all right? Nev, you're back in the city.
Templar Rana Savas. Don't say you missed me.
Templar?
I wasn't going to.
Really? Because I heard there's a relic loose. With red lyrium?
How do you... Never mind. You can't say. You never can.
Rook, meet my friend Rana. At least I think we're friends.
Yes. And Rook, if you're with Nev, I take it I can trust you?
Dink.
You can trust to look after Minrathis. And you? Are you in someone's pocket, or...?
She's not like that.
If you have anything on the relic...
You're on the case?
It's my job to stop illegal magic.
You're working this alone?
Not if you help. There's a rumor the relic trades hands tonight, and Albin Bataris is the buyer.
No idea who that is.
Son. Interesting. I should get moving.
Nev?
I get the feeling...
Also, I'm yawning a lot, so...
And they all...
Possibly after this cutscene, I'm gonna have to, like, actually call it a night. I'm sorry. I wish I could play these games for, like, long hours, but I can't.
Sure, no one else is lurking around.
I can't do that. Not when I have work the next day.
Work to do.
Where are you going?
For a walk to the spillway.
I'll catch up when I'm done.
If you say so.
They were together. Ah!
Our trail is frayed, but the spillway's our best bet. Let's go.
Alright. I need to call it here. I can't keep going at this rate. I am yawning like crazy. I have work the next day. I need to actually be able to catch up on my sleep properly, so then that way my body, you know, properly goes through the whole, you know, fixing me and like not deciding to have like bits of me like stay in the body and like, you know, keep weight on and all that kind of such. I need to have the rest. I need to stop playing. There we go. All right. I am going to call the stream here. I'm not going to be streaming tomorrow like I normally do for MMOs because Saturday is a work day for me. I'm going to have to go into the office. I'm done with Dawn Trail though. So more likely next Saturday, however, you're going to probably see me go through some of the side content there. But that's for next Saturday. The next time I'm going to be streaming is actually going to be Sunday. Sunday morning, I think I'm going to make it where I'm going to be streaming in the morning, playing a little bit of the Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I'm going to try and go through more of the campaign because I didn't get it done in one sitting. I feel like I got like a good chunk of it done. So hopefully it will be like, you know, a relatively fun affair getting to the end. And then we'll probably do either zombies or multiplayer, depending what my mood is and such. So, but yeah, let's see. Is there anyone on... I closed my Chrome. Damn it. Well, I am gonna call it here tonight then. It's not gonna be the normal, you know, raiding into a stream, I'm sorry to say, unless someone... Wait, can I... Like, what happens if I do from here? Raid. Find someone to raid. Alright, what does it do here? Oh, okay, so it gives me the overlay. Okay, cool, so I can do it from here. Alright, let's have a look. Let's have a... Oh, looks like there's a VTuber that's about to start their Dragon Age the Veilguard. So if you guys missed anything at the start, this might be a good one to go for. So let's get a raid coming up shortly. And if you are curious what our raid message is going to be, we're going to go with a... Because we've never seen them before. We're gonna go with our classic himbo raid. Show us your cutest guys, gals, and non-binary pals, or prepare to get swole. I hope you'll all join in with me on that one. And otherwise, I want to say thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you all had a wonderful morning, afternoon, night, wherever you are, as we went through Dragon Age the Veilguard. I'm enjoying myself. I'm sorry that I was yawning so much there, and I can't use my hands. It's a bit, you know, of an intensive game on my CPU, amazingly enough, with all the other processes I have running. I might need to have a look at one point in the future about how much my OBS and all my other resources use, but that's going to be a me thing. So, yeah, that's gonna have to be something for another time. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you all Sunday morning as I go through Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Otherwise, I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.